be an indie means we buck a system that doesn't want us. To be a fringe filmmaker means we don't do it for them. We do it for ourselves. To be an outlaw on the fringe means we'll die before we fail. Be an outlaw. Joe.
George.
Look at me, I'm shuffling papers. I learned that from Letterman.
That is awesome.
That's what the professionals do. How the fuck are you, buddy?
I am great. How are you? If people saw what went on behind the background here, they'd friggin' laugh their asses off.
Oh yeah, no, it's really professional and super organized, and it's right? not like a shit show of any kind. Welcome everybody to another episode of Romero Pictures Indie Brigade. I am your host, George C. Romero. With me, as always, is the ever faithful and present producer extraordinaire, Mr. Joe Ridgely. Looks like we've got some people showing up here. We've got some housekeeping to take care of. I generally like to do most of the housekeeping early on, but let's go ahead and pause for a few hellos. What's up, everybody? I'm so happy to see, Joe, I don't know if you are aware, but the Brigade is starting to take on its own life. People are having quarantine video chats and live streams and sessions, and the Indie Brigade is really starting to find its own voice, and I find that pretty cool.
Wait, can you tell me what this is real quick?
It's going to be pretty cool to play with. So I thought I'd share that. We got it up and running today, so playing around.
I can tell you what that is, but I don't know that I'm going to. Hey, my beautiful wife just popped in. Hi, Rebecca Romero. I'm not going to tell you what that is because that is a super secret, top secret project coming from Mr. Sean Smithson of Smithson Creations. Also, incidentally, the sponsor of Ian Steyer's The Devil is in the Details blog. If you haven't read that yet, you're missing out. You need to go read it. Ian has got some amazing insights into the creative process. He's a phenomenal artist, a phenomenal guy. And Sean sponsors his blog, and that is a super secret project that Sean is doing that is just going to bring some more motherfucking awesomeness to the Indie Brigade. So all of that said, let's see. We've got an exciting show tonight, don't we, Joe?
We do. We have Carey Means on, who is always a fun time.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Been a fan of Aqua for since it's been around. Very excited to talk to him. What's up, Lauren? What's up, everybody? Elena, what's going on? Dino, you can't let the COVID stop you from doing things like showering, taking care of yourself. Man, you always look like you just stepped off the cover of Harley Monthly. And then, of course, we've got the return of Mandaville, Michael Mandaville. For those of you who are new to the Indie Brigade and have not gone back and watched the episodes with Michael Mandaville, y'all are missing out. Michael Mandaville is a line producer, dear friend, mentor of mine personally, and he has forgotten more about budgeting films, scheduling films, and how to run the business of a film than any of us will ever learn. He's got a crazy beautiful mind, and he and I have a tendency to kind of just go off the rails when we talk. So everybody usually seems really happy when Michael and I are on. Everybody seems to learn a lot. So looking forward to the return of Mandaville tonight. Then we've got the end of the night with David Madison, and he's got the phenomenal Sam Jones, boom, who I just got to meet and talk to for a few minutes, and that was kind of a really cool moment in my life.
I might have geeked out a little.
So y'all are going to have to stick around for the end of the night, as always, because David and Sam are going to talk about some really cool shit. Two very cool guys having a very cool conversation later tonight. Let's see, Jack buying that hat next month, Joe. I don't know if it's going to be up there next month, Jack. Just letting you know.
Those are the limited edition ones.
Kelly,
he got in on the beanie and the limited edition wing shirt. So
yeah, I know. And Kelly says, "What's up, Kelly? How you doing?" Terry, I'm pretty sure I saw Terry in there. Happy to see people showing up. Happy to see people arriving. Death to Ming. Tonight, I think she's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. weird.
I forgot my Blame Joe mug.
Oh, I could always help out with that. Hold on a second. There you go.
Thank you.
Wow,
For
things
those
are
of you- Go ahead. No, go ahead.
things are a little laggy tonight for some reason. I pulled that picture up like a half second prior to that.
Yeah, half an hour ago you pulled that picture up. Jeez. I don't know. For those of you who don't know, Blame Joe is a message of the Indie Brigade. It's actually the only message that we believe could be actually larger than the message of the Indie Brigade. We want the world to blame Joe for everything, from coronavirus all the way through to, maybe you just had a bad day. Maybe you screwed up something at work. Or maybe you deleted that spreadsheet. Don't blame yourself. Don't take the heat. Just blame Joe. We've got plenty of merch available at romeropictures.com. The door's really stuck, though. We've got some Romero Pictures merch available. Some Indie Brigade merch available at romeropictures.com/merch. You'll also see a category there called Scare Tactical. Scare Tactical is a phenomenal line of clothes that with artwork designed by Ian Steyer, our very own Ian Steyer, a phenomenal artist. The cool thing about the Scare Tactical gear is that every purchase of Scare Tactical gear, a large portion of the profits from it go to directly into an account to benefit the Veterans Compound. Speaking of the Veterans Compound, when we had DEF CON 1 a few weeks ago, which was, and I'm just going to pause here. What was Dean? Is it the hat? Because it's he's just getting used to taking them, So anyway, speaking of the Veterans Compound, when we held DEF CON 1 a few weeks ago, and Joe, you remember DEF CON 1, don't you? It was the very first online convention, actually.
Remember,
I
don't recall.
Yeah, that one, Heavy Metal Romero Pictures, DEF CON 1, 2-day, 8 hours a day, 16 plus hours of streaming of an online fan convention. It was a phenomenal experience, and it was a lot of fun, and it was the first one. There are others out there claiming to be first, but you can go back and look at the date of the YouTube videos and see that we were, in fact, first. We're very proud of that. And I'll tell you what's really amazing about it is that we actually raised the seed capital for the Veterans Compound. I announced this the last time we did a show, and I don't want anybody to be confused. The Veterans Compound is not funded. What we did was we successfully raised a milestone with DEF CON 1, which allowed us to handle all the legal filings, all the paperwork, everything to make the Veterans Compound a legitimate nonprofit business, 501c3 designated by the IRS. And that was a direct result of the DEF CON 1. So I can't thank everybody who participated enough. I can't thank our guests and panel members enough. I cannot thank everybody who attended and paid attention and helped spread the word. It couldn't have happened without the entire brigade, and it's a perfect example of the brigade coming together. So, fuck yeah, Blame Joe tramp stamp. Stephen, I'm happy to see you here tonight, man. Oh, Terry, what was that? Wasn't that Terry? Actually, you know what? Can you? Yeah, it was the first online indie horror con ever in the whole entire world, Terry. As a matter of fact, not some of the other ones that are claiming to be. It was actually the first. Steve was history in real time. It really was, man. That was cool. It was a lot of fun. It was crazy. We organized that whole thing in under a week, promoted it in under a week, and then just launched it because fuck it. And man, it was a a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Scott,
Jack, 23.50. I think it was more like $25.99 a minute. You may want to rewatch that.
I think he's trying to actually. I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. Maybe he's just trying to get your prices down for the general public. Libby, thank you. So happy that you're here and part of everything. You are a very, very sweet spirit, and you have a good energy, and I'm proud that you're in the brigade. Somebody's got to bring some positivity and light to this fucking group of misfit toys. Let's see, what else? Romero Pictures, Indie Brigade rules. Currently watching Return of the Night of the Living Dead with the family. Hey, man, I would like to see that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's
boom. Is that like a mashup? That'd be interesting. That'd be fun. What else? What other housekeeping do we have, Joe? We've got some other stuff, right? Buy your merch.
We
Buy me a
do.
coffee. How about buy me a coffee? Here you go. You got that link handy anywhere?
Man,
Check this one
you're
out.
getting pushy in your old age.
Hey man, look at that. buymeacoffee.com/RP Indie Brigade. We realize some of our merch is a little pricey. We wish we could charge less, but that's because our cost of the stuff is still pretty exorbitant. We're just not generating enough merch sales to really justify warehousing and all of that stuff. So we work with some drop shippers and things to get our stuff done and out. But in the meantime, if you do like the Brigade, if you like what we do, if you smell what we're shoveling, if you've learned anything, if you want to just help us keep the lights on, keep the servers running, go to buymeacoffee.com/RP Indie Brigade and buy us a cup of coffee, buy us 2 or 3 cups of coffee, whatever you can do. It's like throwing us a little tip. We appreciate it. We appreciate every single tip that you guys give us. We appreciate everything that you do, and we are not too proud to sing for our dinner. So, anything you guys can do is truly appreciated. We are all doing this on a volunteer basis. We are all doing this to try to just better the community, and we're all just doing this to kind of like create a good home and a good place for a bunch of people like us.
Well, that's why you got to read that.
Thank you, Jonathan. That means a lot. It's just we believe that these are fucking dark ass times, and the reality is we need some sort of fucking distraction to make us feel normal. My grandmother brought me in Day of the Day the other day. Day of the Dead. Sweet. I love that one. Jack, you're a good man. I'll tell you what, I'm literally, I say this every show, and I swear to God, it's the truth. I ain't fucking with anybody. The only reason that shit is still on the website with the wings is because I am just too busy. I keep forgetting to take it down. So I guess take advantage of my busyness and get after it. Issam, what's going on? Issam, I want to talk about Catch Sitka. Issam has a phenomenal new website in beta. It's Catch Sitka Seafoods. Also, incidentally, his company, his family business up in Alaska, is the subject of the very first Romero Pictures Indie Brigade feature-length documentary that we are making underneath the banner. So we wanted to get going with some productions. We wanted to get some movies under our belt as a banner. We've all got experience. We've all got that stuff. But the reality is anytime you start a new company, anytime you start a new label, you have to prove what you can do under that label. And one of the things that we're going to do is make this documentary called Catch Sitka. And the entire process is going to be transparent. What does that mean? That means we're going to put live streams of production days on the Indie Brigade. We're going to put live streams of production meetings on the Indie Brigade. We're going to be as transparent as we possibly can with the whole process in hopes that we can help teach people some stuff. There's Issam's website right there in the live public comments, catchsitkaseafoods.com. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be the Bezos of seafood. So go sign up for an account and get you some fresh seafood. The cool thing about Issam and his company is it's all sustainable. He controls the seafood from the time it leaves the boat into his sustainable facility and gets it shipped directly out to your door. And his business model is phenomenal. And his story, I'm telling you guys, it's an American hero story. You guys are going to love the film when we get it done. We've actually got a little teaser that we cut together. I don't know if Joe has that able to be pulled up. I don't have my BlameJoe mug, so I'm just going to trust that he has it.
Well, we're actually running a few minutes behind right now, and we really need to get to our first guest if we could, but I will be more than happy to do that in a little while.
I'll tell you what, it's like 2 minutes. We're like right in the middle of talking about it. Can we just play it?
No, because I don't have it queued up because we talked about that earlier and you were concerned about audio.
Well, that doesn't, whatever, Joe. Let's just move on. Sorry, Issam. I guess I can't show your trailer, buddy. Let's get on with the show tonight.
Give me 1 second.
Let's get on with the show. And we'll bring our first guest up and get into things. This is going to be exciting.
Let's do it. What the hell is that?
I blame Joe.
There he is. Frylock, what's up?
Fault. Joe did it. Joe, I'm going to see you, Joe.
I do not
This
have
is
my
why I
Blame
like
Joe
music.
mug.
Let me take this thing out so you can understand what I'm saying. That's all I can say. Woo! I tell you, you're a
Don't
fan of
call me
Aqua Teen,
Mr.
are you?
I am. Don't call me Mr. Romero. That was my dad.
Don't call you Mr. Romero. Well, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
How are you doing tonight?
Geeking out because I'm on your show.
Are you safe? Are you healthy? All that stuff.
I'm safe. I'm safe. My wife and I are holed up here in the north side of the ATL.
Yeah.
Up here the way where Tyler Perry's buying people's groceries, except for when I go to the store. I missed out. No offense, Tyler Perry. I love you, brother, but you can hook me up anytime you want to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, buy some groceries for old Frylock there. That'd be nice. But he's a good guy, though. He's a good guy doing that for folks. You know, he went to like 40 Kroger's and paid for these folks' groceries, man. Like,
yeah, I know.
A couple of days ago. It was great.
He does all kinds of great stuff down there, man. And you know,
I've auditioned for a couple of things for Tyler.
Yeah,
for some of his shows here in Atlanta. Oh yeah. I said I've auditioned. I didn't say I got anything, but hey, you know, that's the nature of the beast. You know, that's how things go. But you know what I'm saying. So anyway, Mr. Romero, when you're casting for your next feature.
Oh, I got you.
Give me a call. I can do the VO. You know, I've done a lot of things here in Atlanta, man. I used to do theater. I've done opera. It's been a heck of a ride for me here. I moved here in '93, and I was at full steam ahead back then. You know what I'm saying? I've been on stage with Robert Goulet in South Pacific.
What?
That was fun times back then.
Well, yeah, and you're also Shakespearean actor too.
Classically trained. I played Hamlet in Cambridge. No, I didn't. That's an old Sprite commercial. but I did do the Ren Fair here. I was so Richard Dugood, the most chivalrous man in all the land, running around the Ren Festival here in Atlanta back in '95. That was fun stuff.
Yeah.
And so now I got to ask you this. I don't know how much time I got.
You got all the time
you're a fan of Aqua Teen. I got to know what your favorite episode is.
Man, you know what? I have been, first of all, I'm good buddies with Malero.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we talk about
all right.
And
Malero.
So, you know, it's funny when we get on the phone. He's a funny motherfucker. But
he's hilarious.
Yeah. And so I apologize for my language, but we swear a lot on the show.
You're apologizing to a guy that used to work for Adult Swim. Not Kitty Swim. You know?
Listen, I love every episode. Literally, man, I'm telling you, like, you don't understand when I was working. I do this thing where I work all night most of the time, and especially when I'm writing. And I would put on back in the day when I just had cable. I would put on Adult Swim, and it would loop it. It would loop. Lots of shows, and I would watch it all night while I was working. And then I, of course, got DVDs of Aqua Teen, and I would just put them on. And so the answer is there. I love the entire.
Now I have another question.
I love the entire show.
What was the afterbirth of your writing from watching Aqua Teen? How's that for the question, eh? The afterbirth.
You want to know? How about this right here? I'll show you right there.
I want to know.
Boom, right there. You see that in the corner? Rise.
Yeah. Okay.
That was
what you got to download Rise. We got to watch that.
Oh, it's not made yet.
C. Romero was influenced by Aqua Teen when he wrote it.
That is not it ain't made yet. That's my prologue.
Oh, it ain't been made yet.
No, that's my big project, man.
Then let's get back to the casting thing we were talking about.
But I want to talk about what it's like to have been part of Aqua Teen, because man, this thing, first of all, when Aqua Teen, when Adult Swim hit the air, like nobody had ever seen anything like it. Right? There was a generation of people that said that's for stoners, and then there was another generation of stoners.
Let me tell you something right now. Did you ever watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
Yeah.
You remember Zorak?
Yeah, of course.
The Mantis.
Yeah.
You remember the Bragg Show when I was Thundercleese, the robot neighbor, and Zorak was on that, right? the guy who would actually he's gone now. His name is C. Martin Croker, Clay Croker. He actually was the voice of Zorak on Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Moltar and many other things. He designed Fry Like a Meatwad for Aqua Teen. He was Dr. Weird and the voice of Dr. Weird and Steve on the show. He passed away back in 2016, man.
Yeah.
And if he was alive today, he probably is rolling over in his grave right now. Knowing I'm talking to you.
Come on, man.
Because, I'm talking about everything from the one of the Universal monsters, Godzilla, the Frankenstein, the Wolfman, all that. I just shared a thing about Ray Harryhausen today. I grew up with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to be sitting here talking to a legend like yourself about anything.
I ain't the legend, man. My dad's the legend.
Oh man, look. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Don't even go there. You can't
amazing.
deny it. But I'm just saying, though. So that's my geeky moment right there. I'm sitting there looking at this heavy metal.
How fucking cool is that?
Really?
You
I
remember
got to
the
meet
movie?
Frank Frazetta's granddaughters.
You remember
two of them?
You remember the movie?
Frazetta's granddaughters. They're both gorgeous too, by the way.
You
and one of them filmed myself. Myself, Clay Croker. I was just talking about him and Bob Camp singing the theme song from the 1960s TV show Super Chicken, the cartoon. When you find yourself in danger, when you're threatened by a stranger, when you think you're going to take a licking. Bob Camp knew all the words. Me and Clay were lost by the second verse. But it's on YouTube. You Google that, kids, today out there. Frylock and Clay Croker, rest in peace, Clay, and Bob Camp singing the theme song from Super Chicken, filmed on Frank Frazetta's granddaughter's iPhone.
Here's a
and
question.
It's on YouTube. Like,
here's a question.
Bullshit you not.
Will there be a reboot of the show this year and still have you guys?
You got it. If anybody can make that happen, you can. Contact Keith Crawford at Adult Swim. George C. Romero needs to write a letter to Keith Crawford at Adult Swim and say, hey, I got some ideas for this Aqua Teen show. You want to bring it back? Let's have a meeting. Cocktails. Lunch. Do lunch with Keith Crawford.
I would love to see Aqua Teen come back, man.
Look. It's like if it wasn't for Clay passing, we could have get the whole cast back, but he's gone. We can figure something out. We can have Dr. Weird. We can do old clips of Dr. Weird and splice it together. Engineers can do some things. They can do some things. If somebody had posted a page and they were like, what would happen how would the Aqua Teens respond to the coronavirus? So I had to reply right away. Frylock would have to team up with Dr. Weird, and they would come up with a giant hand banana that would have to repeatedly rape Carl over and over and over again to get enough vaccine fluids to cure the world. And that's what would have to happen. They did write a sequel to the movie.
Uh-huh.
They wrote a sequel to the movie. It was called, you talked to Matt. It was called Deathmatch or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they were going to kickstart it, and that fizzled out. I saw Dave Willis and Dana Snyder at the Ball Masters, the show that they're doing. They got like most of the cast of Aqua Teen are still working for Adult Swim, except for. But that's another story.
Well, I don't think I should probably ask about that story.
No. Just look up the Forbes article. That's all I have to say about that. Yes, Forbes talked to all of us.
Let me write that down.
Me and Dana Snyder.
Forbes.
But that's another story, These guys are great guys. I love them all. And there should be a crossover. Jack Hunter with Rick and Morty and Aqua Teen.
Yeah.
That's how it should happen. You're right. I mean, why would Frylock not know Rick Sanchez?
Well, I feel like they probably do know each other.
Yeah, Frylock would definitely know him, and he could probably Dr. Weird's evil twin.
Well, listen, I want to welcome you to the Indie Brigade formally, man. You're dealing with possibly one of the most engaging and wonderful audiences I've ever seen anywhere. The guys and girls and the people in the Indie Brigade, they are diehard, they are loyal, they are loving, they are passionate, and they are here for the same reason we all are, man, because we love what we do. And we all basically struggle with all that other bullshit while we try to do what we do. So we're all, you know what I mean?
And let me tell you something right now, man. It's a pleasure to talk to you, first of all.
Back
It's an
at
honor to be on your show. And second of all, if it wasn't for the fans, where would we be? Where would anybody be?
That's right.
We'd be sitting here, you know, with our junk in our hands going, hey, man, I used to be on that show back in the day. I was also on this little show called Welcome to the Wayne on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I was Jonah Bishop. It's basically Aqua Teen toned down for the SpongeBob crowd.
Yeah.
If you want to call the SpongeBob crowd kiddies, I don't know if you can.
Well,
They
what-
got a lot of adult jokes. Have you ever met Tom Kenny, the voice
No.
of SpongeBob?
No.
Man, he's more wired than his character. I'm telling you right now.
Really?
Yes, just Google him. Look up one of his interviews. Tom Kenny, he's off the chain, man. Let me tell you right now. Him and what's another buddy of mine? DiMaggio from Futurama.
Yeah.
Bender, the robot. Kiss my shiny metal ass. That's my boy. He looks like a big old teddy bear.
We need to do a
That's
big
my
old
buddy.
crossover with all of it. We just need to do a big mashup.
Oh man.
Like Marvel's Avengers,
Oh,
except
man.
with all y'all.
Hey, you know, I'm sure somebody's gonna tap you to direct one of these superhero movies, and just keep me in mind. I want to be a villain. You know.
Hell no, man. If you,
villain.
I'll tell you what, you go back and watch some episodes of the Indie Brigade. Any shot I had at directing a Marvel movie, I threw out the window with my opinions.
Really? Would you happen
yeah.
to know Mark Texeira? You know Mark Texeira,
No,
Marvel artist?
no,
Oh man,
no.
Tex, that's my
No.
buddy. Shout out to Mark Texeira out there, y'all. Some of y'all know
All
him
right.
from the con circuit.
Well,
Crazy
listen,
ass Puerto
anybody
Rican.
wants me to direct a Marvel movie, I'll show up. I would be.
Hey.
I'd love to do it. But-
They getting wild. You know, look at Deadpool. You know, look at Logan.
I know.
They getting wild now. Look, they talking about Sam Raimi directing the next Doctor Strange.
Well, I mean, he
Raimi
killed
can
it.
direct the next Doctor Strange. Hell, I
Yeah.
think you should direct the next Doctor Strange.
Hell, he made Darkman just to get the Spider-Man movies. He got it under the belt. So I got a question here for you. I'd love to know what the production meetings were like at Adult Swim back then. He says, "No, you wouldn't, Ron."
Look, I had a running joke when I used to go to the little soirees they used to have for us and the backstage goings-ons. Is anybody here from accounting? Anybody here from accounting? Just I want to talk to somebody about why my check is always late. And it was because I live in the good old right to work state of Georgia, kids. You know what that means? That means if I'm fixing your roof, you can take up to 90 days to pay me if you want, because I'm an independent contractor, which is what I was for Adult Swim for all the years. Started even going back to the Samurai Jack thing. I was the announcer for the Samurai Jack, first incarnation of Samurai Jack. On the next Samurai Jack, Jack gets it, so that and the other. And so a production assistant, his name was Larry Morris. I remember his name very well because I went to high school with a kid named Larry Morris who was more like Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but that's another story. That Larry Morris ran and told Matt and Dave, he's like, you got to hear this Carey Means guys. Be perfect for this show you're doing about the food products. And I did the audition. I was in the break room of my day job in Sandy Springs, Georgia. I was in the break room on the phone. And I was like, yeah, no, meanwhile, don't get a jam box. It was the Rabbit episode. The very first episode. I'm reading this shit. I was like, what is this shit? It's like, I asked my agent, I was like, she did explain the character to me. She thoroughly explained him. She was like, his name is Frylock. Frylock Sherlock, get it? You know what I'm saying? He's the guy. He's a straight man. He's the one who wants to solve the case. He wants to be the detective. He wants to solve the mystery. The other two are just idiots. You know what I'm saying? So go with that. So that's why I started reading it like that, man. And I could hear Matt and Dave. Back then, it was a conference call. It wasn't like a group chat.
Right.
Like you kids know today. And we had something called fax machines. This weird noise would come over the airwaves. And all these little gigabytes would form letters and words. And you would talk to people that way. Back in the day. It's a legal cigar, by the way. Legal.
That's all right. I don't even know what the laws are down there in Atlanta.
No, I'm not. How cool was it when Elon Musk sat there with Joe Rogan and smoked that blunt? That was pretty wild.
You know, I got to say, man, growing up, I was born in 72. Growing up, I didn't ever think I'd see the kind of society just with that alone, where people just sit down and casually just smoke weed. Man.
No, look, you know, I was reading the comic strip Doomsbury. They got a couple of characters in Doomsbury. They got a weed farm now.
Yeah,
Zeke and his nephew. Zeke is a nephew, and you know, it was always a stoner in Doomsbury, but now he's got a nephew, and now they got a weed farm. So it's like, I was reading the episode today. It was like, which one of us is high? It's like, I think it's your turn. It's me, it's you. Who's high now? I was like, wow, that's a trip.
I'm just scrolling through some of these comments.
Okay.
What do we got here? Raimi could do anything he wants. In the comics, they did a mashup with all the Hanna-Barbera. We need an Adult Swim mashup. I agree. That goes back to what we were talking about.
We need a George C. Romero Adult Swim
mashup. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. With the guys from Death Clock in there. Throw them in there too. What the hell? Remember the intro from the movie?
How long was that run? How long was the Aqua Teen run?
Decade and a half. They gave us these shirts. Hold on, let me see if I can find my shirt. Wait 1 second. Hold on. Oh. Okay, so yeah, I got it right here. So we got the shirts, right? This is the front of the shirt. I'm one in the hood for a day and a half. And the back of the shirt has all the shows that didn't last as long as Aqua Teen did. Pwned. All these shows did not last as long as our show. It's like a Star Wars scroll, if you look closely. Dun, 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 dun. Cheers, Golden Girls, Reading Rainbow, Leave It to Beaver, Frasier, Seinfeld, The Jeffersons, ER, MASH, Return to MASH again, whatever.
So, I mean, what was that? What did you know? Like you said, when you did the audition, you were like, "What the fuck is this?" But then, like, at what point
did the audition over the phone at the break room of my day job? Now, could you imagine? Did you honestly think reading for a box of floating French fries, it would go past 2 seasons,
right?
Much less,
but
11 or whatever.
Did you realize that you were doing something like special? At what point did you realize that it was? The reach and the power that show had. The
fans let me know.
Yeah.
The fans let me know, because I would be sitting at the table at the con and somebody would come to my table, and this is no lie. I ain't trying to tug in no heartstrings, nothing like that, but it could be like, it's usually like somebody like dying of cancer or something like that. And they have this like huge poster or whatever. I see it. I drew that one, Joe. Yeah, that's some of my artwork right there. That's original piece. Yeah. I do original pieces, and here it is. I got it right here. Same one, yes, sir.
I'm gonna need some of that. Where can I go? Where can I and everybody else go and get that?
Oh, just DM me, man, on Facebook Messenger. I have my own page. I got my own YouTube channel. Carey Means. It's a picture of an old Aqua Teen script.
What were the scripts like?
That's another thing I need to talk to you about. I got so much footage from cons. I want to either do a reality show or a fall documentary about the con circuit. And I got the footage and the stories to fill up the gaps, baby.
I'm down for that. We got distribution.
I did a con with Mr. and Mrs. Dog, the bounty hunter.
Really?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I know.
Rest her soul.
I know.
But let me tell you, boy, when you get the scoop at the con from the guys who do security at the con, you know it's golden.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because they had to throw him out. But that's not. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop right there. I ain't gonna say anymore. It was a con in Denver.
I am all about talking to you about that documentary, and I can get that. I can get that shit.
I got tons of footage. If you look at your Facebook today or your Instagram, you see a post with Carey Means with the cosplay guy, the real life Peter Griffin guy fighting the chicken in Albany, New York, for 2 years ago. My buddy Rob Francisi, that's his name. I'm talking. Walk like a Peter, talk like a Peter. This mofo is Peter Griffin, the real, like you just stepped out of your TV. Yeah, I know you've seen him somewhere. I know you've seen him.
How much fun do you have, like, with this part of your life? Like, do you still have fun with? You still have fun with this shit, right?
I'm signed up for this con called Quarantine Con, and it's gonna be it. And I was saying it was the first, but you corrected me today. Like, nope, did it already. Did it already.
Yeah, we did it weeks ago.
It's gonna be May 2nd through the 3rd, right?
Yeah.
But there's all this red tape going on with how people are supposed to pay this, that, this. You know, this is new. This virtual con stuff is new. So I'm doing a favor for one of my booking agents. Her name is Sarah Doubt that. Or no doubt. Doubt. I don't doubt what her name is. Do tot. Do tot. I don't know. But she's a peach. She's a pistol. She's a very good person. So I'm going to be doing the Quarantine Con thing May 2nd to the 3rd. But if anybody wants to order anything from me, they can just hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Hook me up with Messenger. I do the original commission pieces. Like, I've done all kind of weird stuff with the Aqua teams. I did one of the latest ones I did was a fan of Carol Spinney, the voice of Sesame Street, Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch. So Carl wants to move into Sesame Street land. And he's bringing a suitcase with Ham Banana hanging out the luggage. And he's like, yeah, Oscar, I heard you got a pool in there. I can't keep these freaks out of mine. I'm moving in with you tonight. So Oscar's sitting there like, there goes the street. You know, the Big Bird's in the background. That's what the guy wanted.
Yeah.
You know, so I did the piece for him. Whatever you want, I'll hook you up. You know what I'm saying? I was a commercial art major in college, man. I went through with these bare hands. Commercial art. That was the thing.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That's
why, you know, I do original commission pieces. It was pen and ink was my thing, and calligraphy. I really like calligraphy a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an uncle that was a commercial artist, and then he went crazy and was convinced that computers were invented to put him out of work. And then
I know that guy. We feel the same way.
And then nobody ever heard from him again.
Oh my God.
He went walkabout, and then apparently I found out all these years later he just went to the basement.
Wait a minute. Stop. Your uncle's from Australia. You said he went walkabout.
Yeah. And then he
went walkabout creek. Yeah.
I found out
he go get stuffed.
He just spent the rest of his life.
He
just spent the rest of his life painting clowns, like the most fucked up clowns you've ever seen. And
wait.
Yeah.
Please tell me you have some of the paintings.
You know, somewhere probably I used to.
Oh my God. I mean, you know how much they would be worth now?
Right?
Your uncle is rich.
He was crazy. He was crazier than a shithouse rat.
I'm telling you. I just found out that I got a lot of my artistic skills from my father, who could draw and paint and stuff. I found out from one of my older. Well, I got a few half brothers and sisters. You know that song by the OJ? Temptations. Papa was a rolling stone.
Oh yeah.
That was about my daddy. That song was about Edward John Means Jr. Yeah, junior. He was a junior. Imagine how senior was.
Man,
my boss was a Marine. He was a jarhead, man.
Oh yeah,
he didn't mess around. You know, you better be able to bounce a quart off this bed, boy. When I get back up, and he meant it too. You better be able to bounce a quart off this bed, boy.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows a technology conspiracy guy. Skynet is what the hell? Damon, what are you talking about, Damon? And he's got the Sin City creepy character on his.
Yeah, he's a badass. He's a
character from Sin City on it.
He's a loyal member of the Brigade. You know, he's always here with us.
Didn't you direct one of those things from Sin City?
Who? No,
Did you listen directing in that? Yeah.
Fuck no.
Oh.
I wish. You know. my dad did something, but you know, I think he did one of the little fake commercials or something.
Okay, sweet.
What's your expression? That's another story.
Right, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's for when we talk after the show.
Yes. We talk privately.
Yeah.
Privately.
So, let's see.
Hey, man, look, I go ahead.
I was just going to ask you a question, and this is a question that I ask a lot of people on this show. But man, you've got like this energy about you. You've got this amazing sort of just energy that comes off of you. And so one of the things that everybody in the brigade is struggling with right now is finding their positivity and finding their creativity during these times. You know, there's a lot of people who follow the brigade who are struggling, and they're having trouble writing, they're having trouble staying creative, they're having trouble staying true to that thing inside them that helps them create. And I'm wondering if you have any sort of things that you do to kind of fight that, because we all got the dark side, right? So like, you know, if you have any advice or anything that maybe you could, you know, words of light and wisdom for people, you know, about
Believe
how
it
to
or not,
battle this shit.
I would say be like Walter, my friend. Meditate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meditate. Meditation is very good. I need to get back into it. I'm sitting here talking about it. I need to be doing it myself. Meditation, just sometimes sitting within your own space. Cut everything off. Cut all the phone. Cut the laptop. Cut it all off. Open the windows. Listen to the birds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Watch the squirrels. Look outside. You might see some creepy guy outside your window, but look out there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes all it takes is music as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sean Smithson.
He's an
You're a
awesome
hell of a
dude.
guy.
Sean is a badass. He's a woodworker. Sean and I met. I'm a woodworker. Sean's a woodworker. We met over woodworking.
Really?
And now he found the brigade, and now he's writing his first horror script. So we're super proud of him around here.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a great
That's
dude.
sweet.
He's pushing through some stuff, and he's really doing some great stuff. But
Hey,
you know what?
man,
I think you're right. I think it's just find something that you connect with again. You know, and
it could be
like you said, turn off.
it could be something as simple as coloring. Remember how much fun it used to be to color when you was a kid? You want to stay inside the line, or maybe you wanted to go outside of.
Yeah.
I used to like to do both. I used to like when I discovered pastels as an artist, if I could take my finger and smudge those colors and make a new color and blend and do shadows and do all this crazy stuff like pastels and chalk and stuff like that. Just get yourself a piece of chalk, sit in the window and draw your cat in the window. You know what I'm saying? Draw your potted plant or your statue, whatever you get around the house. Do some still life. Put some fruit out there. Put your iron up there, ironing board up there. Just sketch your kids sleeping or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised what type of talents that you got hidden away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you've never done it before. Hell, people ask me all the time, what's your advice about getting in the voiceover business? I'm like, do some theater, do some improv, start off with some theater, take a vocal music lesson. Take a vocal music lesson, as in learning how to breathe from your diaphragm. That's a lot that helped me when I was growing up, man. Learn when they finally dropped, my voice went down low. You know what I'm saying? Because before I used to sound like my sister. People be calling the house, be like, "Hey, babe, what you doing?" "I'm not Karen. I'll go get her." But then when my voice changed, it was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Means, can I talk to your daughter?" I was like, "Yeah, hold on a minute. I'll see if she home. Who is this? What you do, boy?" You know, but you know, it's like everybody has a talent.
Yeah.
Everybody got something that they're good at. You know what I'm saying?
Find it.
It ain't just killing and robbing and stealing, all you thugs out there. Yeah, I'm good at killing, robbing, and stealing, motherfucker. Right, like, told me I got a talent. That's not the talent I'm talking about. There's some good in him. What did Skywalker say about his daddy? I know there's some good in him.
Yeah.
There's some good in everybody. But sometimes you gotta know what that balance is, man. That's why I wear the yin yang necklace. The yin yang, baby, you gotta know you're light and you're dark. You're good and you're bad, and you're ugly too. But you gotta be able to control all of that. See, a lot of people don't know how. That's where people like you come in, George C. Romero. That's where people like maybe myself come in. Maybe we can handhold and bring these people up. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we're trying to do around here. That's
How many people were you up against when you auditioned for I have no idea, Jack Hunter. I wonder if you have a. Well, I know it came down to me and one other guy in the audition process for Frylock. It came down to the last two, but apparently the other guy was too dull, too droll, too boring, too lifeless. He didn't have the tater tots. Get job done. But I did. Oh, this shirt, if you can see it, the artwork on this shirt is by my buddy, Mr. Eddie Price. Yeah.
That's pretty
the 3D guy.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
So I'm advertising for my fellow artists all the time. If you go to my page or my YouTube channel or anything like that, you will always see me plugging my fellow artists' works.
I love it. We do the same thing around here. We're all about it.
Joe was on me a long time for some piece of artwork that he wanted to display in the background of his studio. But Joe, you still got that? I didn't see it today behind you.
That is it.
that Frylock. Oh yeah, that's it.
Okay. There it is.
You kept
with the signature right there.
Yeah, I signed it even. Did I say something stupid to you, Joe? No, I just signed it. I didn't want to get too graphic. I don't know what type of show you were running there over there.
I used to write.
This is actually right.
You got to keep it PG. Keep
so
it PG
it's
for the
always
kiddies. For the shouties. For the shouties.
I used to write weird autographs when I would at conventions and people would ask.
Ooh, give me people.
I'd write I used to write like nice pants, or
like what?
Nice pants. Like I would just write.
Oh, to this guy named Bubba who came up to your table. Nice pants, Bubba. Thank you. You see the bulge, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah,
size 14. You know what I mean?
You gotta have fun with it. But I think.
I'm sorry.
It's all about energy, man. Like your energy is amazing. I don't even. You don't meet many people with positive energy like yours, especially not in this motherfucking business. And it's a pleasure. Like you're a breath of fresh air, man. And I'm so proud and happy to know you. And
thank you.
I really am. This is a big deal for me. I'm kind of like geeking out a bit, but
I sent him the script earlier for him to say all of that. Good job.
Listen,
just make sure you send me the invoice so I can pay you for all those accolades that you laid down.
Not at all, man. I'm a big fan. We're gonna have to get out of here though. But I did send you a friend request on Facebook. I would love to talk to you some more.
I get rid of some loser. And definitely add you.
And I'm very, very proud that you did the show tonight, man.
I blame Joe.
To meet you. I blame Joe for everything.
Joe's fault.
I got a coffee mug that says it too.
Joe. Honors mine. Say.
No, seriously, it's been an honor having you on. I can't wait to talk to you some more, and I love what you do.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell everybody where to go find you, so they can reach out to you and get all your.
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. It's Carey Means, baby. It's me, the voice of Frylock from Aqua Teen, Thunder Cleaves from the Back Show, and the Jonah Bishop from Welcome to the Wave. So y'all remember that one. Peace, love, and fry grease, y'all. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Peace.
For your artwork, it's your personal page, and
do you
have a cameo? I forget.
I do, kinda. I need to check that out. I need to re-up on my cameo. On my cameo thing.
I just got on the cameo not long ago, and
you did. How's it going for you?
Every once in a while, somebody hits me up and be like, "Hey, can you say happy birthday to my goldfish?" I do, but it's
the cup loves it. They're like, Carey, you gotta get on cameo. You'll love it. People ask for all kind of things. I was like, well, when you talk like you, they want to hear that obnoxious shit.
We're going to send you an invitation.
Frylock might be getting some women in trouble with their husbands, So, what color are your underwear? What are you wearing? It's Frylock. I don't know.
Thank you.
Gotta go.
Have a good night.
We will. Good night. Oh, crap.
Oh, I love that guy.
Did I not tell you he's always a good time?
Oh yeah, that was a big deal for me. That was fun. I got to tell you, I'm such an Aqua teen nerd. It's not even funny. I was like, oh, I knew he was going to ask me for my favorite episode. Like, I can't pick one. Like, I don't just, they're short episodes. So I would put it on and I would just watch the whole show, whatever I had. I would just watch it all. Actually, pain drawing coming out of my epilepsy seizures because doctors would ask what I see. So drawing was my medium. Totally agree. Frylock, you're wonderful. Yeah, Elena, that it really does wonders. And that's, thank you for sharing that with the Brigade tonight.
I mean, people are just, yeah. I didn't really get a chance to tell him. I don't know if my mic is off or it might have been his speakers off a hair or something, but I wanted to tell him we were going to invite him to the private group, and he'd be definitely a welcome member.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he's still listening and knows that.
Gotcha. And I do owe you an apology, sir. I should have had that queued up, and I do feel terrible about that, and I will take my lashings later.
It's no worries at all. It's all good. Do you have it? Can we show it?
We can. Can you give me 1 second, and I can get it on here?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
All right. Hold on a second. Let's see. This is when
Carey
things
is one
get.
of my new favorite people on earth. We're going to be best. What a great time that was, Carey. If you're still watching or listening, or if you watch this rebroadcast, man, you are awesome. I cannot thank you enough for coming on here tonight. That's not no idea what in my spirit. I needed to laugh. I want to just kind of talk to everybody real quick about that too. Like, forget to laugh, right? Like Joe. Joe, when's the last time you laughed? What was it, like 1978? It's true. Like when you laugh, it's like it truly is fucking like medicine. And with everything that's going on, if we can provide a little distraction for everybody during these times, and hopefully, teach, learn with you guys, help you guys learn. But most importantly, if we can figure out a way to remember to laugh about something, like really belly laugh. Like I can't fucking remember the last time I belly laughed. It does you so much good, and it really does get all that creative shit flowing. So, I got to tell you, that did me so much good. I can't really remember the last time I laughed like that. So, Carey, thank you for that. That was awesome.
The reason I popped up for a second was because somebody said, Joe, what's going on? That was your audio went weird for a moment.
Mine did?
Yeah. It kind of like the mic turned off or something.
Did it spike? Maybe. Hold on. I think maybe I had it. Hang on. How's that?
No, that's fine now. Yeah.
I think maybe I was clipping out or something.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to have to glitch us for a second. So
no problem.
Please forgive me.
No problem. Oh, is this it? Okay, cool. So guys, if you remember the Catch Sitka, the documentary, this is just, I really wanted to show this, especially when Isam was watching, because you guys, like, you don't understand the story of this, the stuff and the story this guy has been through to become the success that he's become and what he's doing now. And you got to pay attention. So hopefully this catches your attention. Hopefully it gets you over to his website to sign up and follow.
Yep. Give me 1 second, because I got to make sure I hit that damn button that you and I discussed that one time.
Oh yeah.
And of course, now every pop-up in the world is going to show up on my computer for some odd reason. There we go. All right. You ready?
Yeah. Hopefully the audio processes. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's barely playing. Do you see that?
It's playing fine for me. Somebody comment if it's not playing okay. Jack is saying it's lagging majorly. All right,
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, that's
All right.
it's
Just stop it.
got it.
Yeah, you know, Elena said earlier that there's some serious lag tonight too. So, Isam, if you're still there, sorry, we're figuring it out. I think it's the software or whatever. If anybody wants to watch it, it's available on our YouTube channel, and we will be making it. We'll be sharing it and stuff. So, check it out.
Yep.
It's an amazing project.
It really is. Give me 1 second, and I'll find the link,
Yeah.
and I will put it on here.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second.
Major lag.
Something's going on, and I'm not quite sure what it is, because audio was off with Carey also. If I went to say something, either he didn't hear me or he was speaking over me. I don't know which one. So I'm assuming there was a lag.
I'm assuming there was also lag because there was a lot of like I don't think I was having lag with him, but I think there was lag between me and him. So
Fair enough.
I wonder if do you think the internet caught the COVID?
It could possibly be. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna post that right now, and there you go.
There you go.
That's the
There's
link
a link
to
to the
it.
trailer.
And it's
Yeah.
really cool, by the way. It's worth watching. It's like 1 minute and 45 seconds, and you're just going to be like, damn, I really wish I was there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the kind of stuff like this dude pulls like 180-pound fish out of the ocean with a stick. I mean, that's pretty fucking rad. So,
It really is.
you know, like that's like some manly shit.
And I'm seeing these pictures that he's posting daily of the fresh catches, and I'm just, damn, I want some of that.
I know. Well, like I said, if anybody wants to get in on it, go to Catch Sitka Seafood, sign up for it. We're very proud to be pushing the story of Catch Sitka Seafoods. We're very proud to be pushing the story of my good friend Isam, and we're very proud to be making the movie. And I think you guys are really going to dig this process all the way through. So, yeah, thank you everybody for everything. And now I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's time for the return of Mandaville.
Absolutely. The return of Mandaville.
That was a great intro. I like that.
Yeah, that's how we promoted you on the graphic today and everything. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I like that guy, Frylock there, Mr. Tasty Beans, I guess.
Are you just back from France, Popeye?
No. I just got my.
I didn't know it was being right. I didn't know.
Popeye Doyle. I guess maybe with Popeye Doyle, it wasn't.
I'll go with the Popeye Doyle. I like that analogy. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's who I meant. And then I realized, no, he probably thought I meant the other Popeye with the forearms. But no, if I say Popeye, it's a Popeye Doyle.
Popeye Doyle.
Yeah.
I was just
One of the
Go ahead, Joe.
sorry, just one of the greatest car chase scenes of all time.
All
Right.
time. Bullet and the French Connection.
Yep.
You know? And the interesting part is I was explaining to my son, Johnny, who actually he went to film school and has his friend Jonathan Miller, J Mills, we call him. He helped me out on my ultra low budget film I directed. And I was explaining to them about the French Connection, how it changed filmmaking. And a lot of people don't realize it because basically before 73, 72, a lot of stuff was still shot in a studio. And then what they did is they put it out on the street. It was gritty. It was real. It was a sense of the docudrama. And it really broke a number of expectations. And these zoom lenses that move all around so quickly that you do in a few movies, they were all over the place. And that was just a great movie. And I mean, under that L train with that car chase.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Man. And you know, it broke a lot of. I mean, there was language in movies at the time, but that really took the whole language barrier in film like that to another level too, because here we have Gene Hackman swearing like a fucking sailor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing this character that nobody had I think the freedom of being out in the world with the cameras gave Hackman the freedom to kind of develop a character nobody had ever really seen before, because there's a definitive difference between soundstage performances
Mhm.
and location performances. And back then that difference was so clearly delineated because it was something that just wasn't done. I think that's probably everything about that movie, Hackman's performance, everything, was groundbreaking. It was totally groundbreaking and paved the way for movies like Taken, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like I always felt like Liam Neeson kind of looked to those films for a lot of stuff, but I don't know. So.
No, I think that's true. I think you get it's kind of interesting because you can actually kind of Hackman is a big man. He was a Marine. He's a pretty no-nonsense guy. And I mean no nonsense to the point, boy, you're going to be in for a rough day dealing with him some days. And, he doesn't mince a lot of words, but he's the kind of guy that when you see him in Unforgiven, it's kind of the guy you're going to get and the kind of guy you want that's up on screen. It's a bit of the same there. And so he really embodies that everyman, tough guy kind of feel. And I think capturing it particularly on the, these rough drug streets where the drug problem was still kind of an underground, not much discussed issue, kind of like the scene when they go into the bar to roust a couple guys, and pretty soon all these drugs are hitting the floor because they don't want to get caught with them. And that too was and the idea of the heroin, even just coming to the United States.
Yeah.
So the subject, the style, the chase, the grit, not every camera is going to be on a dolly. Not everything's a staged, highly articulated and performance-bound movement. I'd love to see the outtakes of stuff like, let's just try this or try that or whatever they did there. So
I think a lot of that might have come from the early days of noir, because film noir was basically invented when the studios they needed more content, and they were out of sort of space and a lot of resources because of all the big musical numbers. So they gave filmmakers cameras and told them to go out and make stuff out on location. And nobody had ever really done it before up until the sort of the noir genre. And they nailed it, and they did a bunch of great stuff. But then it kind of went away for a while. And I think French Connection is what brought that back, is sort of, one of the things that brought that back, in my opinion.
I think you're right. And, what's interesting is I was reading about that. And I think what's very good is if you know your history of anything, you'll see what's been done before, so far back in the past, whatever human endeavor it is. But I think why learning film history, if you want to be a filmmaker, is so critically important, because somewhere around there, when Warner Brothers, all the major studios, and there used to be, like car companies, there were a lot of studios. Then they diminished with sound because it became so costly to the majors, the United Artists, Warner's, Columbia, which was kind of what they called it, kind of Poverty Row was Columbia, and MGM was the one that had more stars than are in the heavens. So there was a definite hierarchy there. And Warner Brothers, from what I read a few times, did not have a great lighting department. So when they lit stuff, particularly in black and white, and they use a high key light, they said, well, we have a lot of shadows and it's darkness. And not, so I think their lighting department was good, but not great. And then their construction, though, was definitely at a loss. They didn't have the mills and the staffing.
Right.
So what do? Is you hide it. How do you hide it? Don't light it. And I think there's a lesson in there for anybody, because, if you're stuck there at home during this quarantine scenario and you're going, I'm frustrated to make something, I'm like, shut up. You know,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? You can actually put one light on in a hallway and show somebody in their room reading and hearing a noise,
Yeah.
and come up with a short film, which is a resoundingly great way to experiment and try new things you go, wow, that was an utter failure. Good. Well, you learned something then.
Yeah.
And you have one light coming in, and there's nothing creepier than that in a lot of ways.
Haskell Wexler says, don't be afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
And when somebody like him says, don't be afraid of the dark, what he means by that is, you know, and I've actually done this. You start with a pitch black room and you add the smallest light you possibly can, and you build until you can see literally the bare minimum of what you believe you need to see to get your point across.
Oh, good technique. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Start in a pitch black room, start with a match, you know, move up to a flashlight or one of these little one of these little guys right here, you know, just one of these, put that in the middle of the floor, and just, it creates a nice little like, and just play. You're right. Just play around. And if you deem what you filmed to be a failure, then deem the experiment a success, because like you said, you at least learned that that's not a way to do it, but that doesn't mean there's not another way to do it. Right?
Absolutely. And I know my daughter who she works at Hulu, and she was navigating some some maneuvers there for work, etc. We had a discussion, and I said, look, you just got to look at it like you either succeeding or learning. You know, maybe I shouldn't even use the word failure, but I meant like, well, it didn't come out the way I wanted. So, but what did I learn is really the default motif. And I think you and I talked about filmmakers now a bit frustrated with the quarantine, or what can they do, or how do they get off the dime here, or whatever it is. And I just think that I told this one young man, I said, go out and make a documentary about your dog.
Yeah.
Why you like him, why he's the best dog in the world, or maybe, God forbid, the worst dog in the world. But you now have a subject matter you have to dive into and uncover all this material. And when Bill Duke, I think you and I touched on that, but I mean, Bill Duke was doing a movie, and he's the gentleman from Predator when I worked with him, the big black man. And
big Bill Duke fan.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy. And he'd always take off a cap he was wearing and try and give me that Predator look when he wanted something. That's not working, Bill. That's not working. And he's a big guy. He's like 6'5" or something, so.
Yeah.
But Teddy Bear is, feeling, he's a gentle guy and extremely thoughtful and well-spoken, and, can articulate what he wants. And he said he did this film about, I think this Olympia Dukakis was one of the actresses, and it's about, I think, 3 or 4 Jewish Orthodox women in Brooklyn. And he goes, well, I'm definitely not Jewish, so he had to go out and learn what mattered to them. So he got the project right to honor the knowledge to get the filmmaking part. And I think that's great, because you just go out and learn and say, wow. And sometimes if you are outside the subject, like I read books on World War II, and I was in France at one point and talking about the French resistance, and I'm talking to some locals, French citizens, about the National Council of Resistance and the Franctireurs Partisans and all these other ones. They're like, oh, we don't know any of that. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure Americans have the same loss of knowledge about their own history to some degree in that. But it was funny, because when you really dive into a subject, how much you uncover and the connections you forcibly see. And it applies to making that dog documentary in the backyard or something.
It's interesting that you brought up the World War II. I don't know. You and I haven't had a chance to really talk a lot about what's going on, but we need to offline. Heavy Metal Magazine, if you see on the screen there, came on and we're partnered with them, Romero Pictures.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And one of the things, do you remember the Heavy Metal movie from 1981?
Sure.
So do you remember the segment in it that was like, it was like a 7-minute segment of a World War II aircraft during an air battle over the Pacific Theater in World War II?
God, yeah, I think I do remember that.
Yeah. So, and then this meteor comes and they all turn into sort of undead zombie type things. Well, Heavy Metal has asked me to write the new version of that story.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and so I've been researching all of the World War II stuff, and it's interesting because the story takes place on a B-17. And what's interesting to me is that the story picks up, and I'm not going to give away too much detail here, but the story picks up in 1945. And as you know, that was pretty much just before the end of the war.
Mhm.
And it's all about these B-17 crews. Well, the B-17s in July of 45 were in the process of being decommissioned over to the Navy to no longer be bombers, and they were used in sort of that Operation Dumbo Drop or whatever they called it with the animals. And
Sure.
then they moved from there to become planes for the CIA for covert operations and for Air America and things like that. And so I didn't realize all of that. And so it turns out that this story that these guys have asked me to write in my research has led me down this road of an entire portion of World War II that I never thought I would ever get a chance to sort of touch, because everything in World War II is always about Midway or D-Day, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's always, and it's such a cool little niche of the war that I get to touch on, and it's so exciting. But anyway, so I went off on a tangent there, Mike.
No. But I think it's a valuable lesson because when you dig into the details, whatever they happen to be, you discover things about yourself and you discover new points of interest, things that you don't know. And and this steps back to just being, I think, a good participating human being, which is curiosity. Just to start with, in whatever your endeavor is, if you are curious, well, how does that work, or why, or whatever, and much less a filmmaker. But I think once you're a filmmaker, you have an innate curiosity, and that means I'm working on a couple things right around here because I go, well, let's see, I can't go anywhere for what, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I don't even know, but whatever it is, well, I'm going to figure out how to make something. So I'm at my house and working on animations that I had made some characters for. I said, well, I could ramp that up, and I got some new technology to check out, and things are going to be different because who knows if you're going to get 100 people back together for a film crew for 3 months or 6 months. I don't know. Who's going to allow it? Who's going to? What insurance company is going to say, yeah, we'll cover that? Right? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be longer than that. Yeah. And here's a question for you, right? Because here's something that I believe, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. I believe that, so I think the mainstream industry, the big studio stuff, is going to be shut down for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, something like that. Right now, when you're talking about spinning up a bureaucratic monster like the machine that is the studio system, they don't spin back up on a dime.
No.
Right? It's like pull starting the world's largest lawnmower.
Yes.
Right? So what I believe is going to happen, and I'm dying to know if you agree with me or disagree with me, I believe that the studio system, there's going to be a window of opportunity for the indie filmmakers and for the indie scene, because just you know as well as I do, you throw an indie filmmaker 150 grand, they can spin up a production in days.
Yeah.
Right. Even if they didn't even have a script, they can be like, yep, got it. All right, we'll be shooting by Friday.
Yeah.
You know? So,
or at least starting scouting within the week. We're going to look around and they would do it right away because they say, well, we have 150, so we want to do an action film about, it's got to be set in one spot. We need to, the bar, and a couple guys come in there and they realize the locals are a little tougher than they thought. Misunderstanding occurs. Okay, there's our story. Good. So we'll be one spot, and it's got some woods out back, and we could actually run through there. We have a chase. You start to, without a script is probably beneficial, because you would say, let me start from the point of logistics, and then now we're going back to our curiosity factor. Okay, I've got these unknowns. What compels me, the storyteller, in this small bar that now I have access to? And somebody points up there and goes, well, you do know that all those names up there on the list were for the best guys that could hunt wild boar with a knife. There's only 12 of them, but 2 of them are live and in this bar tonight. You know, I mean, somehow you discovered a piece about that. You look at the bar and you go, well, somebody's got a little a bootleg stash where you can pop a panel and out comes a gun and nobody else knows about it. Oh, another little piece of information, you know, coming along.
Yeah.
So it gets back to that curiosity factor, particularly for indie filmmakers, because I think when you come up with a story first, unless you are trained in limiting your logistics to the money and to, shall I say, not just the money, but the psychological and physical allowances that you have, meaning you have X amount of time, X amount of stress level you can endure, X amount of tolerance from your spouse on the crap he or she's gonna put up with. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So you have to judge all those limitations and then jump into it. But I definitely think that you know, some of these studio movies take a year to prep, year and a half. And so even Dwayne Johnson's movie, which is Jungle Book, I'm sure right now with the visual effects, was coming out next year anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how many people you can keep together in that room or for visual effects and post, etc., to make that deadline or not. I imagine it's a summer movie, but it takes a year to get these things going.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, you know, I don't think that you and I have ever spoken about it in the terms that you used a few minutes ago. And I'm not sure how many people in the brigade have ever thought about this, but basically storytelling from a logistics point of view first. It's so massively important. And it's like you said, unless you're trained in understanding how to take a script that's written with no budget in mind, meaning it now has, you know, it's now Waterworld.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going after $1 million or you're going after $100,000. You know, a big thing that a lot of young indie filmmakers run into is, man, I have this script. It takes place, you know, over 3 different times throughout the history of the galaxy, and it requires CGI, but I'm going to do all practical effects, and it's this story and that story, and it's, you know, it's a cast of thousands, and I can make it for, you know, I think I can make it for 20 million, and somebody says, I'll give you $500,000, and they go, I can do it for that.
So true. I mean, you have opportunity. You have to meld with, you know, the actuality of it, and all of a sudden time travel becomes, you know, a flashing light and a sound of, you know, a car horn.
With me off camera with some aluminum foil doing something.
Faster, Cameron, faster. You know, get the fishing pole.
But if you understand how far $100,000 can go with the production of a film, then you can understand how to tell a story that can work within those limitations. And I think that working logistically and backwards, almost reverse engineering a story or a script out of what, like you said, the logistics of it, what you've got access to, what you can do for free, what you can do for free without asking people to do things for free for you, you know, things like that. I think that that's probably the best training any filmmaker can have.
100%. Inevitably, almost nobody has so much money that they don't have a price that they have to attain. And when you look at it, you say, well, is it art or is it business? Well, it's certainly both. Now, you could be art and takes, you know, 10 years to make a movie or whatever you want to do. Motion capture, stop motion, I don't know, whatever it is. And you have that option. And then the other is to actually get in the mix to make a living, to do the work, in which case you could be an eccentric personality, difficult to deal with, you know, do the Stanley Kubrick and make iconic movies every 8 years, 10 years, whatever the number is. Or do you want to be a working director or actor or whatever it is? In which case, for the most part, I think actors get a little bit of an allowance there for bad behavior and eccentricities because they bring a certain fire to the screen in a measured dose, shall we say.
God, you're so polite.
What's that?
You're so polite.
I am.
That was the most diplomatic way I've ever heard anybody put that.
Yeah.
I'd take a minute on that one, Michael. Jeez.
Well, it's probably because I've run into so much of that where I'm like, I'm just going to let this one go. I'm going to glide right past. But Cameron picked up. That was it. He just said, no, that's a fly ball and I'm catching. Okay.
Yep. Sorry. The eccentricities. I can't even remember what you said. It about broke my ass.
Well, sometimes I'm in these places where it's like you are being very diplomatic when you're trying to talk to somebody's agent about their behavior. And you try and, come up with these kind of words where they're going, I kind of know what he meant, but he never insulted me or my client. So I guess I have to have a talk to them, but I can't really come back at them on the language, I'm
not sure if he insulted me or complimented me.
Yeah.
Either way, I know there's an issue.
Get them scratching their head a little, and then you go, well, I guess that door's still open. And that's absolutely true, So true.
We have a question for you, and it's a pretty
sure.
big one. What is literally the best advice you can give a filmmaker? It's such a broad question.
Oh my gosh. Am I limited to just one or a couple bullet points, I would say?
Whatever.
Okay. I would say cultivate, I think it would go to our conversation here, to cultivate curiosity. So that's one. And number two, I would say, no matter the camera, I don't care if it's your iPhone, I don't care if you just have this other camera, you don't wait till you have an Alexa, and go out and make something. And that's absolutely one thing to do. I think there's a momentum and verve that you get, even if you have here you are at home, you're stuck with you have your grandfather, your parents, sister you hate, I don't know, whoever, and you've got all these people in this house. Well, there is actually a movement. They've done it before, and your film history, but they call it mumblecore today, which is like the Duplass brothers and a few others that kind of jumped into this. Greta Gerwig, I think, did a few films like that, etc. And it uses non-professional actors. It's spontaneous in its dialogue, improv, handheld. Makes probably a big to-do about nothing, like, why'd you move that potted plant? I mean, that's the movie, essentially, something that's the crisis. And but you're making something, and now you can actually be at home, and the good news is your cast can't leave. So they'll be there tomorrow, and put together something. I think that's one thing, is that going back to the best advice, is find the story that's available to you to make and accept it and dig deep into that story, whatever ignites your curiosity, to start and finish it. That's probably the best advice I give, to, get the practice, get the work, say, hey, I did that. And what's interesting is you do have to put in the effort. You go, well, this is not the story I wrote, the $20 million sci-fi movie that you're talking about earlier. So I have that one over here, but I am going to make a movie about, or a pilot of a web series, whatever it happens to be, or a documentary about this subject, whatever it is. And I'm going to be smart enough to dig deep into it till I find that little fuse that really lights my curiosity. And you talk about your woodworking, which and I'm rather befuddled about all that. I do my little miter saw work, which is really nothing, compared to what you're doing. But I'd be very fascinated to see how all those things work. some of it I just find so elusive to go, how the hell do you do that? And but I would be wanting to learn it. So whatever the subject, you have to find that kind of spark. And I think it's part of a job of a filmmaker to go, okay, if I say I'm going to hire you, I'm going to pay you $150,000 to direct a movie. Do you want to direct it? And you read the script and you go, wow, it's okay to good. It's not fantastic, but I could use the money in the work.
Sure.
Well, if you bring that enthusiasm and find the part that interests you and work smartly with a producer and a writer and whoever to go, I'm going to find the part that really excites me to make a good story. You're also demonstrating to them that you took what might be mediocre script, good, maybe, but not much more, and done your best on it. And that's part of the job of excelling as a filmmaker. So I think in there, I hope I answered the person's question there, but yeah.
I think you did. And I think that's great advice. And I think I'd like to key on something you said, because you had said you were talking about doing a film, and then you said, and you were talking about shooting something at home with quarantine. And then you said, or a pilot for a web series. And it triggered this phrase in my mind, which is, filmmakers need to be, these days especially, need to be nimble with regard to intent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, what I mean by that,
wait, I want to stop you on that. Nimble with regard to intent. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good phraseology here.
Boom.
I'm just lobbing it back to you on that fly ball,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just came up with that. But I mean, that's really what it is, because at the end of the day, if you're sitting there and you're writing your script and you're saying, this is going to be the best movie ever, it's going to be the best fucking movie, and I'm going to get Bruce Willis, and it's going to be Die Hard meets The Grinch, and it's going to be the best thing anybody ever made. And, at the end of the day, you might not get it made that way. Right. And so you need to be able to say, maybe I will sit at my desk and I'll draw stick figures and hold them up in front of it and narrate behind it.
Sure.
And, and make a movie that way. And, obviously I make exaggerated points for illustration, but the idea is simple. Be nimble with regard to your intent. Just because you wrote something to be a movie, especially in these times and with the way that you can push content out into the world, don't get so locked in to your way of thinking that you close yourself off to other possibilities, because there is no telling how an idea of yours is supposed to be made. And just because you think it's supposed to be a movie, according to the traditional definition, it may not be. It may be a series. It may be a live stream. It may be a book. It may be, right? I mean,
100%. 100%. I mean, when you started in the business, you have to, people, again, it goes back to the history. And because when you know where, and I also think it's important about one's family history, and you and I have had discussions about that in our personal lives and about the cinema history. But when you know where you have gone as a person with your family, or where your country has been, you know where you can go. And so when you look at film history, 100 years ago, 110 years ago, people were sitting around 4 or 5 people, 2 or 3 actors with one camera, trying to make a 10-minute reel that they could sell. Before Chaplin, before Keaton, before Mary Pickford became these huge stars that actually gave meaning to the word stardom. I mean, first movie stars.
Yep. And
guess what? We're cycled back to that over the last 10, 15 years with the internet. Put out a 5-minute thing, a 10-minute thing, there you go. So, but the big difference was all those 10-minute reelers in 1910 or so could only go to a theater. Now you actually have so many other platforms. So you had this, and in the 50s, 60s, 70s, etc., you had TV or film. End of story. That's it. Then you got the middle ground of VHS, like it had another avenue, and then DVDs, etc., and then the internet. So you have to actually, this material will find like water its own place. And I was working, I wrote these novels, and they're each, there's one large novel, and I broke them into 3 separate novels as well, because a friend of mine said, hey, instead of one huge novel that was 720 pages, actually, that I actually have 3 of them because somebody might want to see a series and it's more sellable that way. So I said, okay, I broke them into that. And then at the same time, I started looking at some other stuff I was writing. I said I could write a novel, but it could be a graphic novel. I've got a couple of those that I'm working on right now. And I got somebody doing drawings from Upwork who's good at drawing. They live in the Ukraine. This lady, very talented lady. And to that extent, I'm making intentionally the graphic novel have 10 chapters. Well, why am I doing that? 10 episodes.
Yep.
So now, because I don't know where it's going to go, and now I actually could make the graphic novel, get the interest, secure the IP, and then be able to say, anybody'd like to see it, they go, well, what's your Bible? Oh, wow, that's quite a show Bible you've got here. I mean, this is worked out.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree that the intent could change, and you have to be nimble. Nimble, what did you say? A nice
nimble with regard to intent.
Nimble with regard to intent. See, there's a good catchphrase right there, 100%. And
you just said another one though, and I wrote it down. This is what I do. This is why I write shit down, Joe. Material like water will find its place.
Oh, cycling something here.
Are you there?
Yep, I'm still here.
You said material like water will find its place.
Ah, there we go.
And that's a genius one too. Look, man, we're like spitting some fucking Buddhist type shit.
We really are, man. We're going to start like chanting any friggin' minute here.
Like a blood moon or something. I don't know.
But it's funny because when somebody would say, I've got, and there's people that do this, and I've worked with a number of them where they go, I've got to have this kind of diner and and that's all there is to it. And the seats are red, they have to be blue. And a certain point, people just go, forget it. I don't want to work with this freaking guy anymore or woman anymore, or whoever it is, because all of a sudden our cost goes way up, and it is a business. And at the same time, someone might say, you know what, if I shoot from this angle and I want the seats blue because it's a thematic element, maybe it's a different angle and you have the edge of one of the seats with some blue cloth, so it implies blue, but now you're forced to kind of get what you want within the context of means. And that's a skill. That just doesn't happen.
Nope.
That just does not happen. There was a story, it was an interesting one about with Clint Eastwood, and he was doing a movie with Kevin Costner. I think it was called A Perfect World. Do you remember that movie? I think it was called A Perfect World. With
is that what it was called? I think I remember that movie.
He's like a bank robber, picks up a young kid. They're fleeing. Clint Eastwood, I think, is chasing.
Yeah. I remember that movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Almost everything Clint Eastwood has such a humanity to it.
Yeah.
It's a in essence, he doesn't leave, much like Hitchcock, who used a MacGuffin, but he would actually just stay on the people and their angst and their difficulties and everything. But in A Perfect World, Kevin Costner, I guess, got angry, went to his trailer, and he's in there pouting or, getting angry, doing his star thing or whatever it is.
Being eccentric. Isn't that what you said earlier?
Yeah. Thank you, Jack, by the way, for your comment. Appreciate it. But he's in a trailer. And so nobody comes to get him for like 2 hours. I mean, nothing, not a knock on the door, not a thing. And so I guess he's like sitting there getting bored, and he comes out, and they're shooting a scene where I think it's definitely a small cultivated field. It might be corn stalks, or it could be tomato plants or something. I think it was corn stalks in the Midwest. And, Costner's double is crawling along the ground, and the camera's behind him and over him. And that's the scene. And Costner goes, well, what are you doing? You're shooting without me. And he goes, well, you got upset. You went in your trailer. You didn't come out. And we had to keep working. Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
And I think from that point, Costner goes, oh, but I thought the world revolved around me. Well, it revolves around the fact that somebody could look like you from the back. But he had to keep working. Clint Eastwood's done that on numerous occasions where I've heard so many stories, about he's just practical, keeps moving.
Yep. Actually, that aspect of him inspired me on a couple of projects of mine, and I won't give too many details, but I once had a film where I had somebody being a pain in the ass, and so I rapped them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And way early, and had rewritten a couple of scenes, and brought in a different character, and had essentially rewritten the entire film for this other character to step up and take a whole new role in the film, and just literally spent 4 or 5 hours and shot 5 or 6 scenes with actor B instead of actor A, and it changed the entire dynamic of the film, and it came out great. And,
there you go.
But you do, because you have to keep going. For anybody who doesn't know, when you're on a film with a big budget, generally by lunch on day one, your first AD comes to you and says, "So we're a week behind."
That definitely has happened.
And some of that is a tactic.
Nothing I've worked on.
Right. But some of that is a tactic, and some of it's true. And and it's usually the truth to somewhere in between, and you find out that you're really a couple of hours behind, and then it's up to you to figure out how to pick that up, right?
Yeah.
And that's again where the nimble has to come in. Nimble with regard to intent. It's not just in writing, it's in filmmaking, it's in shooting, it's in the way you approach your entire production. You've got to be nimble, and that means from your creative vision all the way to your execution, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're directing, it's interesting. I mean, the number of people that actually say, look, Bud Bedecker, who did a bunch of these movies in the 50s, very interesting guy I'd met. I mean, he was like a bullfighter. He was kind of a horse wrangler, director, etc. And he had said, well, what's the thing to be most ready for directing? It was just be in good physical shape. Because you're going to get beat up with the stress, the constant attention, someone running up, go, okay, Cameron, blue or red? You got 22 seconds to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens 50, 100 times a day.
Yep. And
with implications that roll down your schedule. And that's a stress factor. And so many other things. So, and another one was like, wear comfortable shoes. I mean, that was the only advice they could give, really. So you get this physical taxation that also combines with ideally a vision, but it goes back to saying, this is what I would like to get staying within the lane, not drifting too much, because that becomes a problem. But the idea of the compromise is inevitable. I don't even know if there's many people that have never made a compromise in one way or the other.
Right.
I don't even know if there's one person that can say, "Oh, I never had to compromise." I mean, it had to be maybe one of the Rockefellers or something. Who the hell knows? But
I watched a director on a very big budget film with very big name actors that I was a PA on up in the New England area. I watched a director try to pull the whole thing that you're talking about, and he learned very quickly to collaborate and to compromise, because I watched him get his ass dragged behind the generator and get his ass beaten up by a bunch of the roughnecks on the crew.
Yeah.
Sure. And that's how it used to be. Listen, Michael, we're running out of time here.
Okay.
I can't tell you how happy I am that you are back on the Brigade.
Yeah, we're coming again sooner than later.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you back. And you and I need to get on the phone anyway. So I'm around this weekend if you are.
You got it. Let's catch up, my friend. And thank you very much for running everything, Joe. It's all your fault.
Thank you, Michael. Have a great night.
All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. Good seeing you.
You do.
Bye.
Bye. the questions and comments, and it's just like, yeah, write a book, Michael, please.
Yeah, well, he has written some books. He has.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they were being specific about books, and it's just like, wow.
Actually, Michael wrote some very interesting books. If you go look him up, he wrote a book on counterterrorism. He's got one of the most amazing minds of anybody I've ever met. So he's a phenomenal guy. Anytime we have a chance to get him, everybody who tunes in should consider themselves lucky to get a glimpse into that man's brain. So we thank him, we love him, and we will be seeing more of Michael. There's a lot of other stuff he and I are discussing as well. So we'll see what happens, and everybody just stay tuned. Boom, that's it. I think we've got Mr. David Madison somewhere.
There you go with these demands again.
David.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing, man? You look good. You look healthy. You look safe.
Thank you. I'm just sitting here playing with my balls.
Right. Well, that's only one.
Well, there you go. That's all I got left. I'm 50.
And married.
I'm married.
How's life? It's snowing there.
It was last time I got my lazy ass out of this chair and looked out the window. It was. But I don't know if it is anymore.
Well,
wonderful show, George.
Thank you.
You're a very tough act to follow.
Oh, come on, man. I don't know, man. I think that you are killing it with your show. Look, do you remember the comment that I sent you? Somebody made a comment and said that you were like the best interviewer on the internet right now. You know, I think you need to take that very seriously because I agree. You've got a way about you. I just think you're phenomenal. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so happy your show's on our network. And
well, thank you.
And I'm thrilled about your episode tonight. That was really cool pre-show, man. I kind of geeked out. I had a lot of geek out moments tonight. Big fanboy.
You know what's funny, George? One of my earliest memories, because I was born in 1970, and I think the Flash Gordon film came out in 1980, was one of my earliest memories of film. Was really geeking out about. I think I was 9 years old when it came out. Was geeking out about that Flash Gordon movie. Do you remember how big it was and how big the Queen theme song was and the Flash, all that jazz? It was unbelievable. So, did you ever think you'd be sitting in your home wearing no pants like I am, interviewing your favorite childhood stars and celebrities and contemporaries? And this is like the coolest thing.
Yeah, it really is. And, I want to tell you, I actually took a cue from you. I no longer wear pants when I do the show anymore.
No,
and I think it's really helped my comfort levels. So
it's just nice to have the tripod effect and let things just flow through. Sorry, George.
No, please.
Another thing that I'm super excited to announce is that tonight on my show, if we can work out the bugs, I'm going to do the premiere of our first teaser trailer for my new film, Quarantine, Stories of I don't even remember what my own title is. Stories of Humanity. Quarantine, Stories of Humanity. You know what's funny? I've been sifting through hours and hours and hours of footage, and it's so powerful and it's so emotional and so riveting that I want to actually make sure I do the film justice. And I don't know, there's just so much good material, but you can only make a documentary 90 minutes to 2 hours, and but I want to make sure I be able to tell everybody's story during these trying times. So I'm excited about it. So tonight, if you usually click me off 10 minutes into the show, I'll make sure I show the trailer 5 minutes in so that you guys can get to see it.
I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I'm honored that you asked me to submit some footage to you. So I'm going to get that to you. I've just been kind of waiting for the right kind of moment to hit me because I want it to be real, and I don't want it to feel like, I've got to set up my camera and think about what I'm going to go do. I want to have that moment where I think, oh shit, I need to get my camera right now. You know what I mean?
The only way it's going to really work is if it's organic and it's real.
Yeah. And that's kind of what, and lately my entire life has been sitting at this desk, just kind of doing this for hours and hours and hours. And so,
did you see that, the biggest convention circuit in the world, Wizard World, has stolen your idea, George, and is doing a virtual convention?
Oh, it's not stealing the idea, man. The only thing is, I think it's great if other people want to do them. And I think I don't even give a shit about credit. I just want, like, I wish other people wouldn't say that they're doing it first. We did it 3 weeks ago almost now.
Yes.
I mean, like that was a big deal.
Well, you're a humble guy. You deserve all the credit because you did do it first and you did come up with it. And screw them.
I think everybody should, be able to go and have fun during these quarantine times. Just don't say, like we did it first. Fucking DEFCON 1 was DEFCON 1. There's a 1 for a fucking reason.
Absolutely.
Well, listen.
So we should probably let George have his little break time. I mean, Joe will let him have his break time. Would you like to join me for the first few minutes, George, tonight and say hello to Sam?
Sure, I'd love to. I'm gonna
Awesome.
I'm gonna go actually just have a quick cigarette and return some of these messages that have been coming in before your show. So I'll be here standing by when you are ready to get started.
Thank you. I'd be honored to have you.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to have you, man. So have a great show, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, pal.
Yeah, man. Joe.
Where's Joe? Joe.
This is like that elevator moment again. Okay, great meeting. Ding.
Hey.
Oh, you're getting in the elevator too. Awesome.
It's kind of like that awkward moment when Spider-Man met that dude in the elevator and they like didn't know what to say to each other. Do you remember that scene? Was that in Spider-Man 2 or 1?
I couldn't tell you. Well, which Spider-Man 2 or 1? Which
the Sam Raimi one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that dude was really famous at that time. His name is eluding me.
The dude in the elevator?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They just made too many Spider-Man movies. They ruined the good ones.
I'm usually really good with like the visual memory, but I think when it comes to things like
Hal Sparks. I just had a brain. It just came to me.
Huh?
Hal Sparks.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
It all blurs together because there have literally been so many reboots of Spider-Man, so many different, and it's just all, it's not like there's not a lot of like super standout cinema in it, like say The French Connection.
Absolutely.
Anyway. Hey, Joe's back.
Hey, Joe.
All right, David, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Peace out. See you guys in a bit.
All right, everybody dip out and I will, well, I'm sorry. You have something to say to exit this.
Well, yeah, I just want to thank everybody for being here. DEFCON 1, the only convention that matters. Damn right, Jack. Listen, everybody.
That one right there.
Yeah, that one right there. Heavy Metal and Romero Pictures, Indie Brigade, DEFCON 1, No Contact, No Mask, No Filters, 2020. We did it fucking first. Anyway, I can't thank everybody enough for being here, being part of this, going through this shit with us. We're here to go through it with you. We're here to help you through whatever you need help with. And just stay fucking creative, man. Like don't let it get you down. Just keep going and keep doing. And as usual, fuck off till next time. To be an indie means we buck a system that doesn't want us. To be a fringe filmmaker means we don't do it for them. We do it for ourselves. To be an outlaw on the fringe means we'll die before we fail. Be an outlaw.
Hey, George.
Well, hell, how'd that happen? No, we don't need him.
That was like it said you're live in the show, and I was like, I look like Sam J. Jones all of a sudden.
That's
Which wouldn't be a bad thing
for any of us.
Absolutely. That gentleman is 65 years old, you know.
Get the hell out of here.
That's what it says online.
Yeah, we may need to verify that. No,
yes. No, I don't think we're going to verify that. How is everybody? Everybody, welcome to the end of the night. The show that follows, the show that everybody wants to see, the Romero Pictures Indie Brigade. I'm just here to kind of clean up the residue. I hope everybody's well. Tonight, I'm super excited. Our guest tonight is none other than the iconic Sam J. Jones, who played Flash Gordon and was on the great show Code Red and was in the Ted films. So we'll have a great talk with him. Later, towards the end of the evening, we'll have a surprise guest. And if we can, nice and early, I would like to show you guys the very first teaser trailer for my upcoming film, Quarantined Stories of Humanity.
Nice.
Yes. And we also have an enormous announcement for a special show that we are doing next week.
Oh, and I'm going to get right on that picture once everybody starts talking and dip out.
No, yeah. When we're done for the night, I will announce what's going on for a special one night event, and we'll let everybody in on our secret.
No, so I shouldn't let them know right now.
Nah, make them wait to the end of the show. Give them a reason to stay.
Fair enough. And we got this bald guy that's here.
Hello, Mr. Romero.
Sorry, I was doing my post-show work.
Well, wait a minute. I was told you were expecting this.
I was, but I had my post-show stuff up, and this window was in the background. So, David, how are you? It's been a while since we've spoken.
Yeah, it's been at least, 14, 12, 10 years. I mean minutes. A minute away from you is way too long.
Oh, come on. I feel the same way.
Thank you, Lance. I'm glad somebody thinks it rolls. You and some 12-year-old in Yonkers like my show. Thank you, Sean.
So excited for you to have them. Have what? What did I miss?
We were talking about the legendary Sam J. Jones being with us tonight. Flash Gordon himself.
That's pretty fun.
And special surprise guest at the end of the show. And a big surprise announcement about a special episode of the end of the night that's going to air next week with I would say a pretty legendary guest.
Yeah, I actually know what that is, and I'm actually really happy I know, and nobody else does.
All I will say is that he was the lead star of a $500 million movie franchise.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites, actually, and I know one of the favorites of a lot of people in the brigade. So,
yes, so that should be fun.
Yeah, and tonight's show, man. I mean, Sam, what a catch! Seriously, I met him briefly pre-show during the sound check, and I had a little bit of a fan moment. So I'm very excited.
We all did.
Last show, so I think it's great. I think you just, I think you're killing it. And
what's the odds, George? I mean, the other night I was laying in bed. What else am I doing now? And I put on the TV, and I have not seen Flash Gordon on TV for like ever.
Yep.
And last night on, I think, the Hallmark movie channel, freaking Flash Gordon was on. Isn't that weird? Yeah. That's good karma.
Yeah.
I think it was HD Net Movies. I think it's part of the Hallmark package.
It was your whole John Boy moment, and then Flash Gordon.
No. John Boy starts at 11 o'clock, pal. Don't screw with my freaking John Boy moment, okay? Because
you're watching the Waltons now? I thought you were on Little House.
No, Waltons. Little House. I've seen every episode like a gazillion times.
You gotta.
I haven't seen the Waltons in forever. And the Waltons start at 11 o'clock every night and end at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I swear I lay next to my wife like a fucking mental patient watching I'm glued to it. And they just wrote John Boy off. So, I'm kind of heartbroken. And I know in a couple episodes that Grandpa's going to die. That's the kind of, death to Ming. That's kind of the part that sucks about watching a show 40 years after it's been on, everything that happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm hooked. I'm getting old and pathetic.
I'm that way with MASH. I go through like MASH phases in my life.
I hear you.
And it's the same thing. And I still cry every time Henry Blake dies. You
know what episode makes me cry? The episode where Hawkeye is losing his mind because the woman they had to hide from the Korean soldiers.
Yeah,
and he with the chicken, and in his mind, he thought that the chicken was really a chicken, but the woman literally smothered her baby to death so that they couldn't be heard.
Yeah,
it was a powerful episode. Now, before we go and show my goofy trailer for my overly ambitious film about the quarantine, which is really, I don't know, I'm not qualified to do this film by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, see, because I thought that was supposed to be queued up for later. You want that queued up now? Man, I'm going to be striking out all times tonight. This is
no. We could do whatever you want. No worries. I got another thing. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to get you a BlameJoe mug.
No, if this is the biggest problem I have today, life is pretty epic. I was going through some of my crap before, and as you know, I'm a collector of crap. And this is something you guys probably never seen, but a lot of people probably didn't even know that it existed. But I like to collect comic books and baseball cards and trading cards of all kinds. But about 45 years ago, these came out. Does anybody remember Elvis trading cards?
No.
Oh, Elvis?
No, didn't even know that was a thing.
Elvis trading cards came out in 1976, and this is a pack that's never been opened. I could still feel the waxy gum inside.
No, but teeth, yes.
Yeah, but these are a pack of Elvis trading cards. Now, there are cards in this set that are as much as $150 in mint condition. So maybe I'll open this and get lucky and get a good card. But just think, there were Elvis trading cards. Why don't they come back out with Elvis trading cards? I mean, who doesn't want these?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, freaking Elvis. I'm going to set up, I have 3 thrones that I can reach a cable to do this show. I'm going to put up a picture of all 3 thrones, and everybody can vote on which throne you want me to sit on. Not the toilet throne, of course, because I don't want to die like Elvis sitting on the throne. But one of those three thrones would be fine. Here's another thing that I found. Do you guys remember from the early 80s Donkey Kong trading cards?
No.
That I actually do remember.
I don't remember those.
Now, on these Donkey Kong cards, I have no idea in the world why anybody would want to buy them, even in the 80s. You would get pictures of Donkey Kong, and I guess was her name, was this one Daisy? Do you guys know?
Was that her name?
Yeah, and Mario. This was even before the video games introduced you to all those additional characters like Waluigi, and I have no idea what
Mario was Jumpman.
Was he?
Jumpman, I think.
Oh yeah, what video game did Mario originally appear on?
I thought it was Donkey Kong.
It was. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. It was Donkey Kong because everybody mistakes him for that shit that he's on now. What's that one he's on now?
Super Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers and Mario Kart and all that jazz. Because my daughter, who's a young kid, of course, plays these Mario video games that are out now. And I, like an old Kajiti man, go, I remember in my time when a giant gorilla threw barrels at that guy. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about, Dad? And that's where I got all mixed up.
And the quarters. Don't forget the quarters.
The quarters. Yeah, they were lined up across the top of the machine to see who was going to play next.
Yeah, I do remember doing that. But the last trading cards I remember are, maybe I just had a fucked up childhood, but I had the serial killer trading cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Do Do you guys remember those?
I don't.
Yeah, like they had they came like that, and they were all the serial killers, and there was
They had one that was like movie maniacs that were like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, and I have a couple of the Fright Night cards.
Yeah,
But,
no, there was actual serial killer trading cards.
You know, you guys are talking about all this stuff and arcades, and I can see Sam in the lobby right now, and what he has behind him is spectacular.
Okay, so you know what?
Well,
Let me introduce. Sorry.
I was going to say, if he's in the lobby, why are you talking to me?
Okay, let me be the first one to introduce our audience to the amazingly talented, the iconic star of so many films like The Flash and Ted and TV shows like Code Red. Ladies and gentlemen, a living legend, an icon, Mr. Sam Jones.
Well, hello, everybody.
You.
Look
That
at that.
is awesome.
Close up of that.
Great.
Sam just won
Whoa, look at
everything. Sam, you just won everything. You won the whole internet right now.
We could even play a game together. I can just sit here and, right now the volume's off, but, it's easy to pop a ball in and listen to me, Listen.
Man. Man, I logged hours at that pinball game.
Oh, he definitely won the internet tonight.
Yeah. He wins the whole internet right there. Boom.
Whoa. Well, we'll give that a break for a second.
Yes.
Ming was supposed to say, "You failed. I kicked your butt." Anyway, hello, everybody.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Above you, if the screen is the same, is our producer, Joe Ridgely, and below me is the legendary George C. Romero. We are all honored to have you on the show tonight. And it must be incredibly cool to walk around your house, I assume you're at your home, and look at your own pinball machine.
No, actually, all the businesses are closed. So I broke into a a bar. Okay. It was vacant. They have multiple pinball machines, and this is where I'm filming.
Smart man.
Because in California, the cops are not going to arrest you if you break in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say something that makes somebody feel oversensitive, then you'll be arrested. Okay.
You can also, I heard in California now, you can just rob anything up to $900, not even get arrested or go to jail.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Well, I'm not, remember now, I've been an actor for 43 years. I've been a Marine for 47 years.
Yeah.
So I have a big sign in my front yard. Robbers, thieves, welcome.
If you want to screw at Flash Gordon, you're going to get what you deserve.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Look, it's crazy times, as you know, and here we are. We're in the middle of a storm. But like my good buddy said, a storm always starts. It starts and it always ends, always. So we have to continue to keep doing our job and I guess make people laugh, just keep thanking the good Lord for getting us all through this and have a lot of patience. We have, I think we have 5 adults in the house. A lot of the kids came back from college. Okay. So our kitchen is a cafeteria. So that's what we do. We cook, we eat, we go to the bathroom, and we do TV shows like this. It's wonderful. And then we eat again, go back to the bathroom, and do another show.
Well, it's an honor to have you on the network tonight. It's an honor to have you on David's show tonight. And it's an honor and a pleasure to meet you, sir. So thank you so much.
Oh, great to be here. Oh, I got a little window that popped up. Oh, good. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can actually read that if you can.
Well, it's a window that says quit and close tabs.
Oh, no, don't do that.
I'm going to put cancel. Now, no, the window came over your face, David.
Can you actually read that comment?
Yeah. Oh, Sam the Man Jones. Hallease. Wait a minute. What is it? Hallease, yeah. What is it? Oh,
That's the kid saying hell's
It's
yeah.
hell yeah.
Hell's yeah.
I mean, there is so much love for you right now, Sam. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Sean Smithson, Sam, I love you, bud. You're an awesome person.
Come on.
Supposed
Oh, yeah. Come on. Yeah, right there, baby. Right there. Come on.
You know, I mean, and Sam has nothing to do but work out 23 hours a day now. So
Yeah, I mean, let me just show you if I can. See, this is can you see that?
Oh yeah.
I'm in
Wow.
my gym. Wait a minute. Let me get a better shot. Oh, I got to go like this. Hold it. Sorry. Hold on. Is that better? Where's everything? There it is. Are you getting it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Now check out this pull-up bar behind me. You know, Gronkowski played with the Patriots. Remember the tight end?
Yep.
Well, he sells these pull-up bars. You see that right there?
Mhm.
That's the Gronkowski bar, and you see how it's shaped. Anyway, I've got pulleys and bands and everything attached to it, and then I've got the little. Yeah, we do some press here. I got 2 sets of the Bowflex. Wait a minute, where is it? This is hard to do, guys. George, you're gonna have to help me with this.
Yeah, it's all
Camera.
backwards.
Boom. And then, of course, yeah, we brought. I did a event one time called the Texas Pinball Festival, and part of the deal, they gave me this gift. They gave me this pinball machine and shipped it to me. Is that cool?
That is awesome.
So cool.
That is phenomenal. And Jack Hunter is saying, let's all admit, we watched Ted just for Sam Jones. But I think I'm going to bow out.
And David, I'm going to leave you to this amazing interview. Sam, truly, it is a pleasure and an honor, sir. And I cannot.
Why are you going, Joe? I understand you, but why are you going, George?
Well, this is David's show. This is David's show.
Okay.
And so,
Just teasing, Joe.
yes. So this is David's show, and you're here. But I am here. I am watching. I am hanging on every moment of it. And believe me when I tell you, it is truly a pleasure and an honor to meet you, sir.
Well,
And-
thank you, buddy. Hey, you and I need to talk, so make sure you get my number from David, okay?
I would love it. I would
And
absolutely.
believe me,
Forward to it, buddy. I enjoy your work, man. Is it true? Do you have just about 15 seconds?
Sure.
Is it true that on one of your films you were into this decapitation scene, and one of the crew started to get sick on the set and started vomiting?
It is true, yeah. Yeah, and I was sitting there with a psychopathic smile on my face, laughing hysterically, and he had just come from a Disney show, and he'd just been shooting all this Disney stuff, and he came straight the next day to my set, and it was cold, so the armature wasn't working right, and the actor had to keep sawing and sawing and sawing. And so I just had the effects guys just continue to pump blood. And it must have taken, I don't know, 2-3 minutes for the whole head to come off. And he was just in the viewfinder the whole time. And as soon as I called cut, he just let it go. It was pretty rough.
Oh, man.
And I wasn't allowed to put the whole thing in the movie. So I think I was allowed to use about maybe, I don't know, 40 seconds of it. So, but it was gnarly. It was awesome. It was fun.
That's
So
pretty
thank
wild.
you very much. I would love to talk to you. So let's talk.
Talk, buddy. Okay.
Have a
George.
great show.
George,
Thank
if you
you.
want, at any point you want to drop in and be my guest.
You got it.
Sure.
I am right here, and have a great time, guys. I'm right here watching. Thank you again, Sam.
Thanks, guys.
So Sam,
All right.
I wanted to ask you this. Tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in Chicago.
Well, that's funny. I was born in Chicago,
Mhm.
but wasn't raised there. It's a unique thing. I was born at the Great Lakes Naval Hospital,
Okay.
but my father was active duty Army. So that's funny. I never asked him when he was, he's no longer with us. But I always wondered. I think maybe it was the only available military hospital at that time. In other words, I was wondering why I wasn't born in an Army hospital. But I never had that opportunity to ask. But anyway, I think I was born and he was deployed. We went, I think, to Germany or France, because that would have been 1954. That's when I was born. Yeah. I'm a senior citizen, man. I love it. I love these.
It sucks because I think I'm about around 20 years younger than you, and you look so much better than I do. So,
well,
damn
I got
you.
this gem. How's that light? Now, is that a better light? I got my phone light on me.
Yes,
is that
there you go.
Is that
You're a handsome bastard. It's not
weird?
fair. No, you look
got
great.
That funky light behind me. I'm just trying to show the pinball machine and all that, but I don't know how. Should I keep the light there or not?
Yeah, no, that looks great unless it's uncomfortable.
Well, we do uncomfortable things to please David. Yes, we do.
There you go. I want to touch on almost every aspect of your career, but with the recent passing of the legendary, and I mean legendary, Max von Sydow, can you share any stories about working with Mr. von Sydow on Flash Gordon?
Max was wonderful. I mean, he mentored me. Remember, I was 23 and a half, almost 24 when we were filming, and somewhere around there. And, I was sort of in awe of everybody. It was my second film, but my first lead role. And, he kind of took me under his arm, while staying in character as well. So at times I didn't know if he was being Ming the Merciless or if he was being Max, but he really was. He gave me some great advice about the movie business. Always be prepared. He saw that I kept, every time we went to lunch, we were at the studio, and he noticed I kept picking the tab up for everybody, the bill. And he said, Sam, I've been watching you for a couple of weeks. He said, you have to stop spending your money. You have to save your money. And, he gave me good advice like that. He gave me advice about off camera, always be prepared. He said, because you have to understand, some movies you're going to do, and it was very prophetic, David, what he said. He said a lot of actors, especially big name actors, are not going to, they're all supposed to show up. In other words, when it's time for my close up, they're turning the camera. They're supposed to do the off camera lines and give them to me. He said, what you're going to learn is, he said, some actors are not going to show up, or if they do show up, maybe it was best that they didn't, because they're not really helping you. They're not really bringing the best out of you. So when you do off-camera lines, he said, always show up, always be prepared. And sometimes it's even more difficult to do off-camera lines for the actor, because this is the close-up, of the other actor. And you don't want to screw it up. You want to bring the best of them out. So he encouraged me on both of those things. I immediately heeded his advice on the second advice of the off camera, but saving the money took me about 25, 30 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful.
It would be incredibly humbling to get a role like the iconic Flash Gordon. Did you watch, when I was a really young kid, I was about 10 when Flash Gordon came out, but my brother and I used to go to our local library, and on reel-to-reel camera projectors, they would show the original Buster Crabbe Flash Gordons.
Yes, black and white. Yeah.
Yes. Did you watch any of those, or kind of?
I did. Of course, I did growing up.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
And did Buster Crabbe's performance inspire you in any ways in how you portrayed?
Well, he did. Matter of fact, we spent 8 or 9 months in England, and then Buster he joined me for the talk show circuit to help promote Flash Gordon.
Wow!
So I did a couple of talk shows with Buster Crabbe. He was wonderful. He was wonderful. Really was. I mean, the guy, we're talking about Flash Gordon. He played Buck Rogers. Flash Gordon, like I said, Buck Rogers. He played Tarzan.
Yes.
He was one of the 18 Tarzans. He also played Captain Gallant, I believe, of the French Foreign Legion. But just a very humble, very nice man. Yes.
I actually had the chance to meet Buster Crabbe when I was, I think, 8 or 9 at the famous Monsters convention in New York City, across the street from Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
And I remember he was an older gentleman already, but he had like the most enormous barrel chest that I could remember.
Yes.
When he was just such a big dude, but he was very soft-spoken and a perfect gentleman. What was it like working with Mike Hodges, who directed Flash Gordon?
Yeah, he was great. I mean, Get Carter, he's really done a lot. He's really good at what he does. But this particular film, remember, they brought him in only, I think, 2 weeks before filming. Nicholas Rowe did, a year, 8 months of pre-production.
Wow.
And then he and Nicholas and Dino started bumping heads. And then Dino decided to go with Mike Hodges. So Mike came into this huge, it was a $35 million production in the year 1979.
Right.
So if you do the inflation math, I think George will know this. Or you know it, you're from. But with these budgets, I think the inflation math, my friend said
35 millions, yeah.
221 or 222 million on what was a $35 million film 41 years ago. Yeah, we filmed it 41 years ago. It came out. No, we filmed it. Yeah, that's right. And I'm losing it. There you go. And what's really cool, this year, we started the 40th anniversary Flash Gordon reunion world tour, the cast reunion world tour. And I tell you, things were happening. We started in Virginia. I went with Brian Blessed, met him in London for a comic book convention. We had Ornella Muti and Melody Anderson, both the leading ladies on board. And then, of course, and then Max, we were setting up, January, late December, talking about, November, going to Paris, because he was, 90 when he passed. Mm-hmm. And we knew he couldn't do the big convention scenes. So we were planning a private event to do with Max. But anyway, we were getting Ornella was coming on board. Then all of a sudden, boom, it hit Italy and everything was shut down at that point. But I did get to appear with Brian Blessed in England. He was incredible, just incredible. He's the show. I mean, he takes any venue, any environment, he just takes it by storm, and the fans love him. So, and then Melody Anderson and I, of course, appeared in Richmond, Virginia at GalaxyCon with Brian as well. So that's on hold until all this comes back.
Oh, hopefully soon. Now, you said Nicholas Rowe was originally tabbed to be the director for Flash Gordon. I never knew that. Refresh my memory. Was Nicholas Rowe the gentleman who directed the Young Sherlock Holmes movie around that time?
I think he did.
Right.
I mean, I should have did a follow up, but 41 years ago, and that's 1979, right? Yeah. Filming. I was just locked into my task at hand, and it's funny you mentioned that. It's a great point. I should have followed up. I mean, I always knew his name was famous 41 years ago.
Right.
I knew that Nicholas Rowe, yeah, but I never really followed his work.
No. The only reason I bring up Young Sherlock Holmes is because it came out right around the time that the Flash Gordon film did, and so I assume that he went from doing the pre-work on Flash Gordon to Young Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, most likely. He just bumped heads with Dino. He creative differences.
Mm-hmm. Now, when did you realize that Flash Gordon was going to become a cultural phenomenon? When did that moment occur to you that you had just done something that was going to transcend, time and everything else that, not everything else you did, because you had an amazing career, but you know what it is, what I mean when you do something that has like a specific stamp of a legacy on it, like Flash Gordon does.
I'd already been in the film business for 2 years, 77. And I did a lot of TV and this. So, here's the deal. I call, you don't know at the time is my point, but I refer to Flash Gordon as the triple blessing, meaning the first blessing for us is getting hired to do a project, whether we're acting, directing, writing, producing. That's the first blessing. The second blessing is if the project does well. And then the third blessing is why we're talking right now. It's longevity.
Longevity, yes.
That's why we're talking. But at that time, man, you just don't know. And then I had some of my representation was telling me in some of my early TV pilots and this and that, oh, Sam, that's going to be a big hit. It's going to be huge. But, all of a sudden it's not picked up. So the so-called experts, you don't listen to the so-called experts. You listen to wise advice like what Max von Sydow gave me. But when you're sitting there trying to be prophetic about this particular TV show or movie is going to be a big hit, well, hopefully it does. But, it is what it is. I remember The Highwayman. You remember The Highwayman, the TV series I did. Mm. It was huge. We beat the Emmys when it premiered as the pilot. And we were shooting 10 episodes. We were told we're going to be picked up for another 12 or whatever and go on for years. But see, that you don't even know. Even though it's good, the networks have other people under contract. And they have to fulfill certain contracts. So I'm not whining or complaining. My point is, on your question, you don't know because you're under somebody else's authority.
Right.
And even that so-called decision maker who you're under his or her authority, they are also under somebody else's authority. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
But there had to have been that moment that you walked into an arcade and you saw your Flash Gordon machine, or you saw I remember when the Flash Gordon record came out, it was a beautiful shiny yellow record that had the red Flash Gordon blazed across. Did you say like, wow, this is really something big?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I was watching, I was part of the whole promotions and everything. And just to see it doing well all over the world. Matter of fact, it did exceptional in every country. Really, it didn't really go big in America until it became top 10 on the VHS, on the video sales. Yeah. But it was iconic. It was huge all over the world, and that's when I started noticing all the people were. I was asked. I flew to different countries to open it, and then doing all the press and everything. All over the world is wonderful. Yeah. And
I'm only going to bother you with one more Flash Gordon question because you got such an amazing career, and I want to touch on everything. Is there any truth to the rumor that you beat out Kurt Russell and Arnold Schwarzenegger to play Flash Gordon?
Well, that's what happened. I didn't know it at the time because remember Dino De Laurentiis, he's really unique. He's unique even in the casting session. My audition, my casting deal went on for, you ready for this? 8 or 9 months. No, more than that. Over a year, I think, from initial contact to a meeting to an interview to, okay, read a scene. All right, another meeting. Okay, read another one. Yeah, it was, because I was in Mexico filming 10 with Bo Derek and Blake Edwards and all of them. And that was 1978. Remember, we didn't start filming Flash Gordon until, was it May of 79? So, yeah, I think it probably was the springtime of 78 when we first made initial contact. And he had this sort of non-disclosure, a confidentiality clause. Literally, David, we would go in one door and you were told to, when you exit, go through we were told to park in a certain parking lot, enter a door, and then exit another door. Well, evidently I found out 2 years later, after it was all done and in the can, all that Arnold and Kurt Russell were there too. But then the last 30 days before I was cast, a few of us were flown to London because remember, we didn't have video in 1979. If you wanted to do a screen test, it was done on film. And, that's huge, meaning your camera crew, electricians, lighting, wardrobe, hair, makeup. It's a big deal back then. So 30 days I was screen testing, 30 days. And evidently they were, and I always wonder why, okay, Sam, you can disappear, come back in 3 days. Well, evidently, okay, I'm serious. They were auditioning other actors.
Wow.
Matter of fact, my buddy, do you know Marty Cove?
Yes, yeah. The guy from Karate Kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in Hyde Park, 1979. I'm exercising. I'm there for the 30 days of screen testing. I'm not hired yet. All of a sudden, now Marty Cove back in 79, he was known, he did this big commercial, Irish Spring soap. He was known as the Irish Spring guy. So all of a sudden I'm running Hyde Park. It's like Central Park in New York. And I see the Irish Spring guy. And I go up to him. I didn't know his name. I said, "Hey, you're the Irish Spring guy. What are you doing in London running Hyde Park?" And because he also signed a non-disclosure confidentiality clause, he basically lied to me. He was there. He said, "Oh, I'm just here in some meetings." David, he was there auditioning and screen testing for Flash Gordon.
Oh.
So I always give him a hard time about that.
What a snake.
Well, no, but he signed a contract. He signed a contract. He couldn't talk about it.
Lance Wagner is chiming in. I have a very happy memories with my dad. Him taking me to see Flash Gordon opening weekend gave me one of the greatest memories with him. Love you, Sam. Thank you.
Oh, that's so cool. Hey, Lance, thank you. Yeah, especially at the Comic Cons, when I do these Comic Cons, what's really cool, in the older days, somebody my age or whatever, a little bit older, and now after all these years, it's incredible. I love it. I'll get granddad, son, grandson, grandmother, daughter, granddaughter, and I love it. Or sometimes I'll just have somebody, someone my age or a little bit younger will say, "Hey, my dad sent me to get your autograph." Anyway, Lance, I really appreciate that. It's wonderful. All the multi-generations, David, and I think the Ted franchise brought that new age demographic for me. A lot of the teenagers who did not see Flash Gordon, well, when Ted came out,
Right.
They it gave them an opportunity to go back and watch Flash Gordon. But that brought that age demographic, all these teenagers now, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
I'm going to touch on Ted in a few minutes, but you have to allow me to geek out, being a lifelong fan of yours.
Yeah, geek out, man. My lighting man's having a fit. See, it's me doing it. Yeah.
At least he knows he's not going to get fired.
I'm using my iPhone. Look, see?
I remember when I was about 13 or 14 years old, you came on, you started in a television series called Code Red.
Yes.
With the late, great Lorne Green. And if I remember, was it Andrew Stevens and Adam Rich?
That's correct. And Dennis Haysbert, Dennis.
Oh, wow, yeah.
He became a lot of huge movies. He became a big name. Dennis Haysbert. He's not in that.
Yeah, Dennis was Serrano in Major League, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of movies, man. Yeah. It's funny. They invited, I had not seen, so let me see. So for TED 2, New York City. So for the premiere of TED 2, it was in New York City. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I guess Seth knew Dennis. So he invited Dennis, and I'm getting ready to, so we said hi, big hug. It's been, whatever, I don't know, Code Red was 1970. No, I'm sorry.
No,
Code
81.
Red was 1981. 81 when we filmed it. So we're talking a little bit, and I got a lot to share with him before the movie comes on. And all of a sudden, I noticed Morgan Freeman sat down right in front of me. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting ready to say, "Oh man, I'm a big fan of Morgan Freeman," right? And all of a sudden, I go to talk to him, and Morgan turns around. I tapped him on the shoulder, and Dennis came over to say hi to Morgan because I think they did a film or two together. And that was it. I never got to talk to Morgan because Dennis and Morgan started reconnecting. But yeah, that was Code Red was something else, man. That was Lauren Green, the famous creator, Irwin Allen. Remember Irwin Allen?
Earthquake,
Voyage
correct?
to the Bottom of the Sea, Towering Inferno.
Tower Inferno.
Help me here. I mean, the list goes on and
Earthquake,
on.
I think.
The Poseidon,
Earthquake?
and then the Poseidon Adventure, I think.
Yeah, yep. All the great action films of the
Any disaster.
60s. Yeah. He was actually the very first filmmaker to make a movie in what was called at the time Sensor Round, which is now just 5.1 surround sound.
Oh yeah.
And it was the Towering Inferno, which was the first film. Yep. So
and didn't he do Lost in Space? Wait a minute. I think he did.
The original TV show?
Maybe one of the viewers will know that.
I'm not 100% sure.
Can you click in, type in to see, did Irwin Allen also do Lost in Space? Produced it, created it?
I think he did.
I know he did Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. We'll find out here soon.
So tell me, how did you get hooked up with McFarlane and, with being involved in the Ted movie?
Well, he called me. He called me at home. I got my number from, I think one of the representatives. And he told me, I get this a lot, David. Now I love this time of my life in my 60s. I love it. Because I wish I could think like this in my younger years, all those years taking offense at what people said. Why? Man, it's exhausting. I must have exhausted not just myself, but a lot of people around me. But anyway, I get this phone call. Hey, Sam, Seth MacFarlane. I said, oh, yeah? You talking about the Family Guy? Yeah, okay. What are you doing? He said, look, when I was 8 years old, I saw your movie. It changed my life. I said, well, Seth, how did it change your life? Well, after I walked out of the movie theater, I knew after watching you and the superhero Flash Gordon, I knew I wanted to be a creative guy. I said, well, that's cool. Yeah, you become creative. But I said, also, in reality, Seth, you've also become a bit perverted in your shows. I said, I hope I had nothing to do about that. I hope I had nothing to do with that. So we laughed, and he told me he's doing his first movie, his directorial debut on this movie about a cute little teddy bear. Yeah, right. And he said, hey, it's got a strong Flash Gordon theme, and I want you to be part of it. And boom, there it was, man.
That was awesome.
Part of history. Not only Seth's first movie, but I don't know if you knew this, he shattered all the box office records. Under the category original R-rated comedy, it became #1 all-time box office.
Wow.
Now, R-rated comedies do make over 600 million, but this was under the category original R-rated comedy, #1 in the history of movie making. It made over 600 million.
Wow.
Which is cool.
Your legacy just continues to grow. It's amazing. Terry Jarrell, who's a member of the Brigade, tells us that Irwin Allen did Lost in Space from 1965 to 1968. So you nailed it.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah, Terry, good job, man. Is it Terry or Terrell?
It's Terry.
Oh, Terry. Okay. Oh, Terry L.
Oh, yep.
Okay. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
So, Sam, do you have anything that you're currently working on that you could let us in on, or is everything top secret?
No. Yeah, top secret. Well, yeah, I've done 5 independent films the past 2 years. And one, I'm happy about them all. But, a film crew filmed a documentary on me. They shadowed me for about 4 years. So about once every 6 weeks or 2 months, they'd show up wherever I was, on a film set, at a Comic-Con, at my house, at a friend's house, at a restaurant. And we just did, life after Flash. We did this documentary. And what's amazing about this, David, you never know you can't really write the script. Yeah, as you know, when you're doing a documentary, because you can't write the script because you don't know what you're going to shoot. You have an idea, an outline what you're going to shoot, but you have no idea what's going to come out of the person's mouth who's talking. And so it's obviously it's entertainment based. But when this whole thing started, I realized real quick, if I'm going to reach the people, especially the men out there, I've got to be transparent. I've got to be transparent in what I'm talking about. So that's what I did. I mean, what started to be entertainment based about all my experiences in the movie business, I referred to it as sort of a do's and don'ts of life. And this is what I did, David. I talked about the certain choices in my life, why I chose that route, the consequences that followed, and how I dealt with those consequences. And some of the choices I made were not great choices. So it's called Life After Flash. It's on Amazon right now. Matter of fact, another movie I did last year is called Accelerator, and that's a live action. And I played the hitman, and I'm really that's kind of cool. This is kind of a cool character. That I was just told the producer just sent a text, email, and said that it's now on Amazon Prime as well. So Accelerator and Life After Flash. And then there's a couple more coming out soon as well.
Oh, sweet. I'd be honored and humbled to someday direct a film with you or to work with you. So hopefully I can make that happen someday.
Well, let's do it. What are we waiting on?
Right now, as we speak, I am doing a documentary film about these troubling times that we're living. It's actually a real-time documentary about how what we're living in is affecting people. So if you're interested in doing something like that, please let me know. But of course, if you want to do a narrative film, I would love to write a part for you.
Yeah, I mean, we have to. It's all about building people up.
Absolutely.
Look, it should always be about that. I never understood. About, look, especially in this time, but even before this time, even after this storm ends and we're going to get back to somewhat normal, it doesn't matter who voted for who or who didn't vote for who. Why do we base things on that? When somebody needs help, when someone needs to be lifted up, by golly, our job is to build people up. And when we speak, and my friend always says, when we talk, even if we have to, we have people working for us, even if we have to fire one of our employees, well, not now, we don't do it, but I'm saying anytime in the future, even if you have to fire somebody, you better end that conversation by building that person up. Maybe this job isn't working out for you right now, bud, but I know there's something out there that you have the gifts and the skill sets for, and you're going to be a major blessing. That's the way we got to do it. All this other nonsense about, I understand cynicism. I get it. I understand comedy. I got that. But man, we got to be careful about breaking somebody's spirit, and whether it's Sam Jones or Flash Gordon, he doesn't tolerate that. Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody's out there trying to break somebody's spirit, you come to me. All right. And I'll give them the Flash Gordon and the Marine Corps hug.
The hug that they don't get out of. It's funny.
Oh, yeah, it's a hug. Yeah, it's a good, encouraging hug. Now, if they, if they're not going to change after the hug, then I'll extend the hug until I hear a few cracking. Then I can always pray for them afterwards.
Yeah, if this teaches us anything, it teaches us the frailty of being a human being and how much human kindness goes a long way. And with that being said, Sam, I am absolutely honored that you are on our show tonight. You can be on our network, on our show, whenever you wish. You are a great, great interview. Sadly, I could have gone on for hours talking to you because I'm a fanboy and I geek out when I talk to somebody I adored growing up. And thank you so much for doing our show, Sam.
Thank you, David, and everybody out there. Hey, just keep building people up. This storm is going to end. All right. So keep smiling. God bless.
Sam, is there anywhere that your fans can find you that you would like to tell them to look for you?
Well, yeah, if you go to the producers, well, I'm part of the producers too of Life After Flash. If you go to lifeafterflash.com, that should lead you to all the social media. I mean, I think you know my Facebook out there, my Twitter. You know, I'm not real good at this. I mean, I do it, but my wife helps me a lot. I think my Twitter is @real, right? @real Sam J Jones. I think most people know my Facebook because it's got that verified. It's got that check. I know a couple of years there were a couple of people that were doing their own Facebook anyway, and they said that they were Flash Gordon. They were not Flash Gordon.
You are Flash Gordon,
my friend. We paid him a little visit, and by golly, that took care of that.
Again, thank you, Sam. It was a pleasure seeing you, and I hope to talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, Joe and David. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Wow.
He's got so much energy, I'm like out of breath. And I didn't do anything but listen.
And the pinball machine and the 360 on the total gym.
You know, the guy has weights that look like it's like heavier than a Volkswagen.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little lazy right now.
Yeah, maybe that's why he looks like he's 40 and I look like I'm 65.
And I look like I'm in my... Yeah, we're not even going to go there. Wow.
It just blows my mind, that these people that we all grew up with, who we all admired, are just, people like us. And they can teach us just things about growing up, about humanity, about every aspect of life, not only filmmaking or arts or anything that requires any kind of skill, just the skill of being a kind and wonderful human being. And Sam is a kind and wonderful human being. He's just a ball of energy. He's just got so much positive vibes.
The pinball machine, I agree. Absolutely. That was very cool.
It's funny. I forgot all about that pinball machine. And then when he came on with it, I was like, holy shit, he's got that pinball machine. I saw that thing like a gazillion times in the 80s.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Garnham. How are you? Emmett Garnham has a wonderful store in Port Jervis, New York, called Haven for Heroes, and it's a comic book and one of the games the kids played today, Joe, like the card games, like where they all sit in these.
Pokemon?
No. It's like
Magic.
Magic. Yeah. And what's great about Emmett is that in his town, he leaves his store open to all hours of the night so that the teens can play these games in a safe environment. And he's just a wonderful guy. And ever since his store has been open, misgivings that were happening in the town of Port Jervis have went down because this wonderful man has given so much to so many people. He's just a great guy. So if you're living anywhere in Orange County, New York, make sure you support Haven for Heroes in Port Jervis and go and say hi to Emmett Garnham. He's just a wonderful human being. And thank you for watching the show, Emmett.
That is spectacular.
Yeah, he's just a great dude. He's the kind of guy that never looks for anything or wants anything, but always does the right thing for people. So he's just a great guy. Unlike me, I'm a dirty, rotten weasel. You're very welcome, Emmett. As you know, you're a dear friend. You want to know what kind of guy Emmett is? I was doing a signing at his show, and I had this terrible pain in my back. And Brian O'Halloran from Clerks was sitting next to me, one of my dearest close personal friends. And I said, Brian, I pull up my shirt and I go, "What is there anything that you see on my back?" And Brian went, "Eh!" and was horrified. And I was like, "Oh my God, what's the matter?" And Emmett came over and saw that a giant tick had embedded itself into my back. And Emmett rushed me to his house and extracted the tick very carefully for me. And I survived the heinous tick incident. So Brian, my buddy forever, is sitting next to me. He goes, "Eh," and does nothing. And Emmett, of course, the great human being that he is, extracts the tick. So thank you for taking care of the tick for me. Okay. Joe, is our surprise reoccurring guest with us? Ladies and gentlemen, a man who needs no introduction, the great, the legendary Mr. Scott Schiaffo. Scott, how are you tonight?
Love this guy.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
How are you?
I'm good. That's great stuff with Sam. I got to meet him at a couple of cons, and he really is a sweetheart.
You know, it's funny. I could have talked to Sam when I have guys like William Sadler or Dan Roebuck or Sam Jones. I could talk to those guys for hours, and I wanted to talk to Sam because when Sam and I did Sci-Fi in the Valley Con together in Altoona last time, our tables were right next to each other. And right in front of us, a vendor passed out, completely passed out, hit the ground, was unconscious. And Sam, who, you know, you would think who was the headliner of the entire show, he rushed out, like jumped over my table, and I didn't even know it was happening, and ran over and aided this man. And because the man was rather large, Sam and I both picked up this man and put him in a chair and made sure he was well. But that's the kind of guy Sam is.
Wow. He really, real sweetheart. Brian had known him, and he introduced us all, and the guy treated us like he knew us for, like forever, and really, really embraces other actors. It was very, very sweet.
Yep, it was a fun interview. You know, there are people out there who are hard to interview, and there are people out there who are not. And he was definitely one of those people who are not. So I'm having you on, A, because you're like the coolest guy on the planet, a dear friend of mine. But I know that you have a huge announcement for something that is happening tomorrow night.
Mastale. Yes. It's called Oh Say Can You Stream, and it's David Elfison, who is Megadeth's bass player, or was the original Megadeth bass player and pretty much part of that band from the beginning. He was out for a few years, but back. He has a foundation for Youth Music Foundation, and they're also doing it for Schools Out initiative. David has a thing where he does online music lessons for children, as well as there's COVID-19 relief. And the list of people who are a part of it tomorrow is just mind-blowing. We've got Brian O'Halloran, Marilyn Gigliotti, myself, and Ernie O'Donnell for a clerks roundtable. But you've got a list of people from the metal world that is just like endless. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I want to do the whole list. What I'd like to do is have people just check out the links. They're on my Facebook. If you were to do a search on David Elfison, it would all come up. Alice Cooper and his wife are like some of the main guests, but there's people from the comics, Don Jameson, Jim Florentine, a couple of the guys from Tesla are going to be on, the band Tesla, Mark Slaughter, Chips Enough, my friend Drew Fortier, just a really, really amazing bunch of folks. And I'm so happy to be a part of it because it's not a crowd I get to pal around with often, but being a musician, I'm excited to be in such amazing company for such a great cause. And thank you, David, for having me on tonight, just to give it a quick push.
No, absolutely. And not as many people know, because you're just the coolest. Scott is not only an incredibly accomplished actor, he's a wonderful musician. And in fact, when I was honored enough to have him at my Weekend of Fear at Wild West City, he did the coolest jam session. It was you. It was Kevin Van Hentenryck from Basket Case. It was Alan Jax Bowers, who was the drummer who worked with Jimmy Buffett. And lead vocals happened to be handled by a bunch of guys, including Brian O'Halloran. And if you even remember, that night, Nicholas Brendan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer did an a cappella Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Right.
I wish somebody captured that concert because it was like one of the coolest things I ever seen.
There's some snippets from different phones that I've seen, but nobody got it, I think, from start to finish. I just want to mention Leon Bass, wonderful young man who came out to support the project as well that night, that jam session at your con at Wild West City. That was really a fun night for me because I don't always get to marry the music and the acting. I do when I'm doing soundtrack work, but that's a different thing. Live with the guitar and rocking it up, I don't get to do that often, and we had a ball that night.
And I can imagine that doing. They were on a stage that was like an old Western, in the heart of an old Western town, and 2 giant wooden doors would open and expose the band, and there was a giant live crowd in front of you. So it must have been like a hoot. So I'm jealous. I wish I gymmed with you guys, but that whole no talent thing got in the way.
You should have come up and done backup vocals or something.
There you go. So again, Scott, what's going on tomorrow night?
It is called Oh Say Can You Stream, and it's going to be from 3 o'clock to midnight, and that's different hours, East, Central, and West. You got to check it out. It's going to be all over my Facebook, so please go there. You'll get the links. You'll get the schedule of all of the guests, from Alice Cooper to people from the band Tesla. There's so many people who to just sit here and read the list, it would be nuts. I want you to check it out for yourselves, because the cause is great. It really is. And these folks happen to be big Clerks fans, and they reached out to me. And of course, I reached out to Brian and Marilyn, Ernie, and they were on board. So it's exciting. It kind of happened really quickly, so I'm still just getting my head wrapped around it. I'm very happy to be a part of it. It was already gotten some press in Rolling Stone, Spin Magazine, kind of amazing.
That's awesome. Joe, are you there? I want Scott to be with us for a moment. Scott, so next week on a very, and I hope that if you could join me again, because I love having you.
Give me a second. Sorry, I epic fail.
I don't know what he's talking about, so I'm not concerned.
Well, you wanted him back on, right?
I did. I think.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to. And epic fail. Give me like a minute and a half, and I will bring that up.
Is this the?
It was just. I wanted you to be on with me when we announced our special guest for our very special Wednesday night show next Wednesday. What's the date? Does anybody know for next Wednesday?
Well, I was going to pull that picture up.
Okay. Are you ready for it?
Wednesday's the 15th.
No, I'm not. That's why I said I need give me a minute and a half. And
okay, I'm talking to Scott.
Brother, I'm sorry.
Go do your Joe stuff.
Next Wednesday is the 15th.
Okay. So when Joe's ready, we will put up a graphic for a very special standalone show on next Wednesday, April 15th at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
I hope everybody can join us. I hope you will be joining us. We're going to have a very, very special guest star. I'll give you a couple clues. Maybe you can guess who it is.
All right.
This cat starred in a series of films, actually 2 of them. And the worldwide gross of these 2 films were over $250 billion with a B dollars. He has an enormous catalog of great films. He's also famous for making an entire 2-hour film that was completed with Bill Murray, but never ever saw the light of day, but is available on YouTube. So, do you know who I'm talking about yet?
His initials aren't TM, are they?
No.
Initials BL?
DL, no.
Franchise that was a part 1 and a part 2?
Yes.
Almost there.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Here's another hint.
Give me another hint, yeah.
You and I were sitting next to each other at a con, and he was like 3 tables away from us. I went up and made a joke to him, and he said, F you, Madison. Don't say his name out loud. This should be enough.
Oh, I love this guy.
All right. Loaded and ready.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this Wednesday night, in keeping up with the string of iconic guests that we have been having on the end of the night, This Wednesday night, we're going to have none other than Zach Galligan, the
Yes!
star of Gremlins and Waxworks and so many wonderful motion pictures. Zach will be on with us Wednesday for a special Wednesday night show, April 15th at 11 o'clock. So there you go.
Oh man,
My job.
he's great. He's a really sweet guy, and I want he tweeted not long ago a little teaser. Actually, it wasn't a tweet; it was Instagram. He said thought about doing a book, memoirs, and I hope he does it because he came up at a time, New York in the '80s, the club kids in the '90s. It would be. I'm sure the book would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think he just appeared in a View Askew movie, didn't he?
He's in Method to the Madness. He's in J. Mewes' Method to the Madness, and he plays 2 roles in that. And he truly, not just saying that, he does a phenomenal job. He's really, really good in it. So check that movie out before Wednesday night, folks, if you can. Method to the Madness. No, Madness in the Method. My bad. Madness in the Method. Madness in the Method.
Thank you, Mr. Schiaffo. And it's always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
And you too. And you too, Joe.
So, Joe,
There he is.
do we have the trailer queued up? Tonight, Scott, I'm going to release for the very first time the very first teaser trailer for the documentary film I'm doing about, the trying times we're living in, Quarantine, Stories of Humanity. I would love for you to be a part of it. So please let me know if you would like to be a part of this film, because I'm sure you have a very interesting story to tell.
Stories about what's happening while we're quarantined.
Yep. Just your feelings, your thoughts, your tragedies, your triumphs, all those type of things.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's going to be quite interesting.
You don't seem overly interested.
No. Because what's funny is I was joking with somebody about how a lot of things in my day-to-day life, aside from the madness of the shopping with the gloves and the masks, a lot of things, because I'm such a studio guy who spends so much time in the studio regardless, this being in hasn't been that big of a change per se. But of course, what's going on out there, and there's situations with my dad that are not great. They locked down his facility, and after not getting to see us for a while, he's getting a little confused. But no, I'm very happy to give you a rundown of how this has been sort of affecting me and my thoughts on it.
It's funny because in watching the footage that people have, friends and just people I don't even know are sending me, some of it is so wrought with emotion and so deeply touching that I hope I do the film justice it deserves for the times we're living in. This would be the very first trailer, so let's see how this is going to go. I saw the little hand. There you go.
No pressure whatsoever.
No, I totally understand that these things. If it doesn't play well, it's not blame Joe. It's blame Dave because I gave him a shitty format to do this in.
It's not necessarily true, but
no, it is absolutely true.
Un momento. Is there audio?
No.
All right. So we're going to stop that. And we're going to try it again with the audio. How about that? I apologize. That's
no worries. No worries.
And I'm not going to get nervous at all. Mm-mm.
You know what? Now everybody just thinks it's a Universal movie.
Hold on a chance. Damn it, Joe. So we got that. We got something's freezing up on me.
Joe, what are you doing to me?
Damn it. Cancel. Well, how embarrassed do you want to be, Dave?
Listen, I made Mr. Hush. I could take all the embarrassment in the world.
So here we're gonna go and we're gonna rewind and we're gonna go full effect.
I think that's as full as it gets.
All right, fair enough.
Me, as I'm sure for everyone, is the not knowing. Not knowing how long it's going to be. Not knowing, are you next? Is a loved one next?
I don't know when I can even just hug another human being right now.
But just seeing your wife go by ambulance to the hospital. First time I read it, call 911.
Well, there you go.
May I do that again?
Rod?
I'm going to do that again.
Okay.
That's a very compelling trailer, brother.
Oh, thank you.
For me, as I'm sure for everyone, is the not knowing. Not knowing how long it's going to be. Not knowing, are you next? Is a loved one next?
I don't know when I can even just hug another human being right now.
But just seeing your wife go by ambulance to the hospital. First time I read it, call 911.
Wow.
So I apologize for the first.
Oh, no worries. You know, the second voice on that trailer is the great David Howard Thornton from The Terrifier, if you recognize the voice. The first voice is Lisa Alex, who's a musician who's just a wonderful. I think you met Lisa at one of my Halloween parties. Yeah,
Yeah,
great
friends as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jason Moulton, who is the very last voice, is the gentleman who I was talking to you guys about last week about his lovely bride being taken out on a stretcher. Jason from the cons we do up north.
Yep.
So the trailer will be available tomorrow. It'll show a lot better on other platforms because it's very difficult to show trailers on the show, and it has nothing to do with Joe. It's just the way streaming is based upon the amount of people who are on the web now. It's web traffic ever since the COVID virus is up almost 800%. So a lot of things have been wanky. But tomorrow, if you look on my page, I will have the trailer up. And if you can go on the quarantined movie page and share it with your friends and like it, I assure you, it's going to be a film that touches you when you watch it because the material is just unbelievable. So now you saw the trailer. Do you want to be a part of it, Scott? Huh?
I'm going to be a part of it either way. You can't get rid of me.
I know. I was just teasing you.
Hey, let's address some folks quickly because I feel like we didn't get to say. Libby, we love you. Lance, you're the best. William Glenn, hey, what's happening? Zach is a cool guy. Aliana, artist to do jam sessions. We get into the moment. Blah, blah. Yep, that's cool beans with me. That's right. Romero Pictures, DMC is part of that show tomorrow night. I'm so happy Scott Chapo's keeping that long hair. Hey, thank you, Lance. Anyway, I just wanted to address the folks that were popping by. Thank you all, man.
That's why everybody loves you, Scott, because you are just that kind of fella.
Well, hey, if they're gonna,
Oh, absolutely. If I knew how to use this machine better, I would be nice enough to read people's. But
I got to get lighting down here so I don't look like I look like I'm a solarized. It looks like there's a solarized filter on me.
And God has made me to look like a freaking geek to begin with, and to read these things, I need to do this. And it just goes from bad to worse.
Oh, I got you. There you go.
And my screen is so damn bright that my glasses glow. So I look like a villain from the 60s Star Trek.
I got to get better lighting in here. Yeah.
All right, it's 12:15, and this poor Mr. Ridgely has been doing this all evening. So I guess we can call it a wrap, Mr. Ridgely. Thank you for being such a wonderful producer. And I want to thank Sam J. Jones for being on our show. I want to thank the legendary Scott Schiaffo for being on my show. Scott is a semi-regular, I hope, if he's not off, doing other shows.
Ha ha! Hey, I got to pimp it, man. I got to work it. I'm excited. Thank you for inviting me on with Zach. Zach, I really enjoyed his work, and I really want to push him to write that book, man, because I want to hear his story.
We will lay down a smack down on Zach down on Wednesday, April 15th at 11.
Hey,
all right.
Scott, where can we find you on social media, and what is the upcoming event?
Okay, well, Facebook, Scott Schiaffo, Twitter, Scott Schiaffo, Instagram, Scott Schiaffo, Google, Scott Schiaffo. You can never get too much Scott Schiaffo. No, I just, I nuked this now, but it's called Oh Say Can You Stream. And if you were to do a search on David Elfison from Megadeth, it would come up because this is his baby. He's got a youth foundation through the Grammys, and it's for that, and it's also for COVID-19. And man, the list is crazy. There's Alice Cooper. There's people from Tesla. There's Don Jameson and Jim Florentine, Greg Gass, Ricky Rockman. They're all hosting. Bumblefoot, people from Seven Dust. It's just nuts. People from Great White, Mark Slaughter, DMC. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't even believe that I'm part of it, to really be honest with you. We got the Clerks thing happening. Brian O'Hara, Marin Gigliotti, myself, and Ernie O'Donnell. So it's just going to be amazing. Frank Hanna from Tesla. Just so many people.
And we did. Damn, that wasn't the intention.
That was fine.
And we did advertise that also on the Indie Brigade because it's such a great cause.
It really is, and it's there's no rub because it's a very different trip what Dave is doing and those guys. I mean, Ellison's been at it for a while with his foundation through the Grammys, and now with COVID-19, he just released a single, and the proceeds are going to help people in Italy. He's just a sweetheart of a guy.
David.
Yes. Well, to everybody out there who celebrates, I want everybody to have a wonderful holiday weekend. Have a very, very happy Easter. Everybody stay home, stay safe, give the one you love a hug, and enjoy life, because we'll get through all this bullshit together.
And not for nothing, Flash Gordon was on. Good night.
Flash Gordon and the guy and the Gremlins will be here on Wednesday.
What guy was that?
Zach Galligan from Gremlins.
No.
There he is.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Cleveland.